Thank you, Fancy Nancy. That is so sweet. Hey, everybody. How are you guys doing today? Hey, happy Sunday. Anyways, hey, how's it going? Thank you, Fancy Nancy, again. She does suck. Yeah. All in favor, say aye. Aye, right? Definitely was sucker punched by that Dateline trailer. I was like, what? Like Jason told me about it. It still sucker punched me though, even though my fiance that I've been with since 2018 kind of was prepping me for it. I was not ready for that, and it threw me for a loop. I was reeling for it until, like, you can even tell I uploaded that video. I didn't really too much put too much into the upload. I was just like, I just whatever. I just want to get it out there, like I want to share it. I want you guys to be just as shocked as I was. It was nuts. It is nuts. She is nuts. She sucks. How dare her? Praying for you all. Thank you so much, Fancy Nancy. And to all of you who do that lend your support and you know what I mean? Just you give me a soft place to land. And not just me, but other, family members too. And I appreciate you for that. Thank y'all so much. I mean, I wonder, like I said, I wonder what Lori Daybell's attorney thinks about her doing well, you can't say an East Idaho extravaganza like KJ always says. No, she went big, right? She went Dateline, straight for the jugular. And I always joked and said that I make like gang signs with my face. I just do. I'm animated big time. Actually, it's annoying. And how I said that whenever I was going to go, before I went to her trial in Boise, 2023. And I was like, I'm so scared. I'm not going to be able to keep my face straight. I will have to have a mask because I mean, I'm just like, you know, and I mean, you're not supposed to do that. But again, gang signs with my face, gang, gang. Right. Anyways, she's worse. I gotta say, I have met, or, yeah, I did meet her, but oh my gosh. eh, She makes some faces, and that is just in a little window of time. Just just a couple scenes, like she likes to say, um, of her saying, "Lori damn Daybell," 2019 or 2018, to today, present day, 2025 in the year of our Lord. Okay, and she thinks she is the Lord's favorite. That in and of itself is it's, laughable, but then it's not funny because it's super disrespectful for her to do these kind of things, in my opinion. Like, damn her, because she does not do this to her own children, her own husband. She silenced them forever because she didn't want them telling the truth, in my opinion. And so don't worry, Keith, I am going to tell you the truth. Trust me. No, ma'am. That was a long time ago. Remember whenever Nate Eaton uh, rolled up on the side of you after your vehicle got impounded and you lost another copy of Visions of Glory? But I'm sure you have, if your stash is everywhere. You even have one in jail. And so, and he's like, the whole country's praying for you, praying for your kids. You have anything to say? And she's like, that's great, with her holier than thou, her I'm the Lord's favorite attitude. Okay? With her bag of money. Remember that? That was awesome. That was just one of those. Nate was like, "What you got all that money for? What you got that Ziploc bag full of money?" You know? Holy shit. No, I'm not. I mean, definitely for sure. I don't know. After I watched Colby last night, I couldn't wait to watch what he said, or anybody else for that matter, but I haven't seen anybody else do that. Not yet. It's still a shock, but I don't know if my mom or Larry has, and I was like, "It seems like they would." It's a whole new trial, a whole new experience, y'all. This is like the dynamics changed totally. What do y'all think about it? Like, I saw some of your comments after I uploaded the video, which let me go grab it, and that way I can share it with those who just have been lucky and haven't seen it yet, right? Okay, let me let me share my screen. Anyways, hi. Thank you for being here, guys. Oh, you did? You didn't get a notification again. Oh my god. And I even scheduled ahead of time. So they had time to think about this, YouTube. Do better. Do better, YouTube. Quit charging all these people money and making them watch ads. Okay. I remember getting screenshots before somebody, I think it was Weird Mom, that's her handle name, and she sent me screenshots of the ads that were playing on my channel, and it was LDS, LDS anything. I'm just like, seriously, is that where we're going? I don't even key tag. I don't even put in my keywords because I ain't trying to draw no attention from that crowd, um, who are just gonna be like denial anyways, and just no, I'm not being ugly. It's just yeah, I just kind of steer clear of that. I bring enough attention upon myself. I don't need any help. Anyways, but yeah, it was like LDS, coaching of all things, life coach. I was like, well, and some beaded bracelets, because they, especially Lori and them, they love their crystals and stuff. So I mean, whatever. In upside down world today are we doing? It's like, what are we doing today? Up is down, down is up. Let's see, it's on here. I think I'm gonna have to switch it again anyways. Let's see. Yeah. Wait, no, I can do it here. Look at that mug, y'all. Let me make sure you can see it. I feel okay. There it is. All right. Brace yourselves. Everybody strapped in? Okay. Can't fix her face. She talks out the side of her mouth, out of her face now too, like Summer. I never realized this about her. Not this bad, but who's ready to be triggered?
You're the most hated mom in America.
Oh, it's so
Lori
low.
Vallow Daybell, also known as Mommy Doomsday, the exclusive jailhouse interview.
You've had a lot of stuff, Keith. What I tell you will be the truth.
An all-new Dateline next Friday.
I play it again.
You're the most hated mom in America. Lori Vallow Daybell, also known as Mommy Doomsday, the exclusive jailhouse interview.
You've had a lot of stuff, Keith. What I tell you will be the truth.
An all-new Dateline next Friday.
Like you did had a damn stroke. Oh my god. What are your responses? Please leave them in the comments down below. We have to talk about this. Oh man, if we could just put a muzzle on her or something. Handcuffs aren't working. The jail bars are not working. Can we throw a muzzle in there? A kit to make her behave. Oh Lord, see that? Her pupils are dilated right there. I never saw that. Also, I wonder what her attorney thinks. Like I said, I was so triggered. See out the side of her mouth? That right there, I was like, "Oh, howling like a wolf." Y'all, she was so happy to go back to her cellies and just be like, "Oh my god. Oh my god." When COVID was going on and she was like, "There's COVID, there's Kobe Bryant, and then there's me. They're all here for me." This is what is going down this Friday on, Dateline right there. Yeah. So, she got to go and have her spotlight. It hasn't aired yet. I don't know how I will feel if it's like I can't take much more of, and I mean, they've done minimal actually, Summer, of Summy and Mummy. I can't, because I'm just like, you guys are steadily deflecting and blaming this all on Chad or Satan or whatever. You're not actually holding her accountable. Not that I've seen. And they damn sure have not at all shown any kind of compassion that's genuine at all about Charles. Yes, about the kids. Summer cried, boohooed about the kids. But I just have this horrible feeling. And I mean, I'm not trying to be ugly or whatever, but I trust my gut. My gut says, trust your gut. And it's like, they do not care about your uncle. They do not care about Joe. Uh, it's like, once these men of Lori's are tossed, crumpled up and balled up into and then they toss it and then they never look back. It is just what they do for me. What Charles does for me, did for me. It's so artificial and cheap. It's trashy. And I don't know any other better words right now. And I'm not a wordsmith, so there's that. That's not a surprise here, but I mean, come on. Really? You're going to represent yourself pro se. Your trial literally starts at the end of this month. You're going to bitch and complain without citing anything to court TV, because obviously you have a vendetta against them, as if maybe she just did see all the times Dateline, would advertise and promote Chad and Lori the same way. Everybody has, because that is the truth. What is she gonna say? I didn't say zombies. Um, you still murdered your kids. You still murdered Tammy. You still allegedly murdered Charles. I don't ever know if she's watching. I'm just saying. Mm-mm. Like, you're still a horrible person. You're still blaming your daughter. No, not still, because nobody else got the memo. Okay, the court, the jurors, the investigators, our own eyeballs and our ears, everything that we witnessed about this trial, the evidence, the pain, the tears, the just digging in for 6 years, over 6 years. And I mean, you're still not taking accountability, Lori. It's like, what the F? This woman, her shelf needs to be broken quick. um, she's not looking too good. And hey, I can say that because I'm not either. But I wasn't never trying to be fake. I wasn't like trying to be the perfect Mary Mormon Poppins or anything. So I'm sorry. That's not nice. I guess I'm more triggered than I thought I would be. So I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It's sometimes can't really control it. And I mean, I think it's okay to get things out. If I could tell her to her face, I would do it in a heartbeat. Oh, just let me I will just touch her. I won't even touch her. No, I remember saying that too. Let me pull that story up, because I don't, the way that she reacted according to this jail cellmate. Let me type it in real quick. Okay. Beep boop boop. Let's see. I hope you guys are doing good today. Right? I think, and I gotta go. I have to go check my. Oh wow! Look at this person right here. I'm like, whoa! I didn't know what zombies. No, just kidding. Let's see. Oh, well, it's. I don't know if it's the same one that was on. Let's see. This is from 4 years ago, so it's about the same time. Here we go. Okay, let's see what this is. I hope it's not ads. Oh, we can listen to the article too. What up with that? All right. That's what I'm talking about. It's like a Cadillac. What happened to it? Show it.
Woman speaks out after spending 4 days in jail alone with Lori Vallow Daybell. Rexburg, a local woman who spent time with Lori Vallow Daybell in the Madison County Jail, is sharing details about the experience for the first time. The woman has asked EastIdahoNews.com not to use her real name for safety reasons.
Right.
In this story, we will refer to her as Missy Cook. Madison County Jail officials confirm Cook was incarcerated on a parole violation at the time Daybell was booked.
I think it's a plant.
Cook was later sent to another correctional facility until she was recently released from custody. Cook visited with EastIdahoNews.com for 2 hours last week and provided notes she kept while behind bars in Madison County.
2 hours, that'd be awesome.
The notes detail conversations Cook allegedly had with Daybell. During the time they were both incarcerated, Daybell spoke with her new husband, Chad Daybell, and her son, Colby Ryan. Cook overheard parts of those conversations from her adjacent cell. Cook also showed us a text message conversation she had with Daybell days ago through a phone app that allows people to communicate with inmates. Daybell remains in the Madison County Jail on $1 million bail on 2 felony charges of conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence. She is scheduled to be arraigned Thursday. Meeting Lori Vallow Daybell. While Cook was incarcerated in Madison County this spring, she was placed in disciplinary lockdown between March 4th to 8th for breaking jail rules.
Yeah.
Deputies moved her into a segregated pod, which contained 2 cells. Everybody in the jail was talking about how Lori was coming back from Hawaii and we wondered if we'd be able to see her, Cook says. So I'm sitting in the pod and in walks 2 or 3 guards with her. They were very nice and she was nice. She walked in with her stripes on, but she also had a bulletproof vest on. I had never seen another inmate like that.
She's translated.
Daybell arrived in Rexburg Thursday, March 5th from Hawaii, where she had been arrested on 2 counts of desertion and non-support of a dependent child. Her children, Joshua, J.J. Uvallo and Tylee Ryan, had been missing since September 2019 and Daybell refused to cooperate with law enforcement.
She's gonna tell the truth.
Watch. Lori Vallow Daybell arrives in Rexburg and refuses to answer our questions. Jail officials confirmed to EastIdahoNews.com that Cook and Daybell were in a pod together for 4 days. They had their own private cells, but were able to walk out into the pod and watch TV, read books, make phone calls, or talk with each other. I made it a point not to ask about her kids. I wanted to gain her trust and see if she would tell me anything, Cook recalls. I'd been judged, unfairly, for one of my crimes and turned inside out for something it wasn't. I couldn't imagine feeling what she was feeling when she got there. Daybell was upbeat and friendly, according to Cook.
We hear that a lot.
She never showed any sign of heartbreak, never cried, did not appear to be disappointed and opened up about how glad she was to no longer be in the Kauai Community Correctional Center. She said the jail in Hawaii was so bad. There were roaches on the floor and it was awful.
Oh my God.
She kept saying how nice Madison was compared to that and how amazing the food was here, Cook says. Going to court. The day after Daybell was booked, she was scheduled for her initial court appearance in Madison County. Media outlets from across the country were huddled outside the courthouse and hundreds of people showed up hoping to catch a glimpse of the accused criminal.
We're gonna watch that in a
She
minute.
was totally aware of all of it. She said, "We have the death of Kobe Bryant and COVID, but no, there's me. I'm the lead story. I'm more important than all that stuff," Cook tells EastIdahoNews.com.
Oh
She
my
knew
God.
she was the main story and she liked it. Daybell was proud to show off her
Oh
blue
my
toenail
God.
polish but complained about her dry skin and was worried about how she would look during the hearing.
This is why they
Cook
show
gave her some lotion, deodorant and makeup she had purchased from the commissary. Many inmates also used Jolly Rancher candies and colored pencils for lipstick or eyeshadow.
I'm just
So she comes to the door and has on this bright pink lipstick. She said, "How does it look?" I hesitantly paused and said, "Oh, you look good," Cook recalls. I gave her some tips and said she could use a regular lead pencil to draw on her eyebrows and helped her get ready for court. Cook says Daybell knew how big of a deal the hearing was and looked forward to it. When she returned to her jail cell hours later, she wanted Cook to watch the news with her. As the news came on, she said, "Here it comes. Here's my story. Turn it up.
Oh
Let's
my
see what they
God.
say about me now," Cook recalls. Bail and phone calls. Magistrate Judge Farron Edens set Daybell's bail at $1 million. She was determined to get out of jail and met with her attorneys for hours daily to see if
She's
she could
done.
come up with the money. Every day she's going out with her lawyers and I'd say, "Are you bonding out?" She would say, "I hope so," Cook says. I remember before one of those meetings, she ran her fingers from her head down her body and said, "We'll see if all of this is worth $1 million.
No.
When Daybell wasn't with her attorneys, she was likely
No.
talking on the phone or having video chats with Chad or Colby. Daybell would sometimes wear earbuds so Cook could not hear what was being said to Daybell, but she listened to Daybell's words and took notes.
Thank you for your service.
She talked on the phone with her son literally almost 2 days straight. After the big entrance at her arraignment, she got on the phone with her son and said, "I didn't see you in the courtroom. There were just so many people," Cook says. He kept saying, "Mom, where are JJ and Tylee? Why won't you tell us? What's going on?" Cook never heard Daybell discuss where her missing kids could be, rather, she would talk about memories from the past or ask Colby to show her his baby. When Colby became frustrated that his mom was not cooperating, Cook says she would tell him to read the scriptures. She told Colby to read Job, a book in the Old Testament, and he would understand. She said she was being tested like Job, Cook says.
Job.
She would say, "Colby, just listen to me. Everyone wants to know, but it's none of their business. God doesn't judge me and they shouldn't judge me.
He does judge
The
you.
prophet says to stay off social media, so
That's
don't go on there."
interesting.
Cook describes
doesn't judge
Daybell's
me.
calls with Chad as nauseating.
Exalted.
Daybell wanted affection and reassurance from her husband that he loved her and she always made sure she looked good if they communicated via video.
Good.
Life in jail. The day begins at the Madison County Jail with a standing head count around 7 a.m. Breakfast is served and inmates must then complete chores. You're given a bucket with cleaning supplies and you have to clean.
More than our victims
Everything is
get.
metal, so you spray things down, scrub the shower, scrub the floor. It's awful, Cook says. Lunch arrives around 11:30 a.m. and inmates are given an hour of outdoor activity. Dinner is served at 5 and everyone must be in their cells by 11 p.m. Daybell never spoke to Cook about religion but spent her free time reading scriptures and praying. "I told her one thing that's going to keep her sane in here is if she reads her scriptures every night," Cook says. "I said the only comfort she's going to get is to pray."
Not.
In all the time they spent together, Daybell never discussed JJ or Tylee. Cook believed they were safe and never imagined their remains would be found buried on Chad Daybell's property on June 9th.
Oh.
"I thought the kids were alive. I really did. I thought they had them in a polygamy compound and they were there working while she and Chad went to Hawaii to live their lives," Cook
It
says.
doesn't make sense either, though.
After 4 days, deputies came to the pod and told Cook she was being moved so Daybell could be by herself. They hugged each other and Daybell said she was sad to see her go. A few
Oh my
weeks later, Cook was transferred to another facility. When she was released in August, Cook sent Daybell a text message through Getting Out, an app used to communicate with inmates. Daybell responded, "How are you doing? I've been praying for you. I'd love to visit with you. I'll schedule you in later today. Hopefully that will work." Cook has not heard back from Daybell since that day but hopes to communicate with her again. She says all the inmates in the jail are following the case closely. "I think she will turn against Chad. If she's as vindictive as she is, those kids were buried on his land and at his house. I would turn on him to save my own ass," Cook says. Cook says it isn't her place to say what she believes should happen to Daybell. But she remembers one thing her old pod mate repeatedly said throughout their time together. "Everything has a purpose. God has a plan for everyone. His plan will be accomplished," Cook remembers Daybell saying.
Oh my God, is that grand conspiracy?
Thanks for listening.
Oh, thanks
Here
for
is something
reading,
else
girl.
you might like.
I don't know how to shut it up. Sorry.
Courtroom Insider latest on Daybell, Coburger,
know.
crime camp, and working a crime scene.
I'm just gonna close the screen out. Okay. Woo! I didn't know where the thing went. Yeah. So she's like, there's Colby Bryant, there's COVID, and everybody's here to see me. And let's, see if this is worth $1 million. And see my $1 million right there? I keep it. I mean, of course, it's not my real $1 million. I don't keep my real $1 million bill where people can see it, but that's my copy. But I mean, I used to keep it in a binder that as was trying to take notes and everything in the beginning of all this. And that was a constant reminder, that it was all over money, power, and sex. And so that's really disgusting. And this happens all the time. That's why whenever, Lindsay opened with that statement, money, power, and sex, that's what this case is about. I was just like, that goes for anybody. Okay. It's just like, ooh, and it does. If there is somebody that is murdered, I'm just like, did they have life insurance? Now it's like the first thing I think about. What is their end game? What are they doing this killing for? What do they get out of it? Because I mean, I don't really, not say anything ignorant. I'm gonna say people don't just usually enjoy thrill kills, but there are those that do. And that's just it. There's so many disgusting, deplorable, uh, unforgivable, acts of crime, of violent crime that go on day in and day out against men, women, all races, all creeds, all sex. It doesn't matter your gender. It knows no bounds. And here we are still scratching our heads whether satanic ritual abuse is real. And that disappoints me a lot. It really does. And I know that these things are named this way for a reason, you know? When somebody hears satanic, they're like, "What?" You know? It's like they need to change the name of it, which it is. You know what it really is? It's just, really extreme, really severe, um, child abuse that involves sexual, um it involves torture of children. These are children of, of cannibalism, of having to kill another human being, you know? It's a really jacked up belief system and practice, whatever the hell it is that I mean, it just evades the hands of time. Just, "Damn, we'll just have to try again, everybody." It's just so gross. And then these cases never get these not I don't care about the cases. I want these people to be held accountable. It would be like Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell being free amongst you and me. I mean, think about that. She wanted to see Colby's daughter. "Show me your baby." Why? You forfeited that. Miss, I'm gonna tell you the truth, Keith Morrison. She had plenty of time. She's had plenty of opportunity. She's stood at pulpits. She has stood at Melanie Gibbs. I'm sure it smells like essential oils, according to Lori and Tylee. I believe Tylee, right? Mm. So she stands there and she's like, "If he comes at you once, if he comes at you twice, if he comes at you 3 times," see, it says it right there in the scriptures. When Nephi killed Laban, she is justifying her bad behavior. But just now in that article, I caught that, God doesn't judge her. And I'm thinking, I didn't catch that the first time years ago, but I caught it just now. And, the rumor, or actually witness testimony, has provided us with accounts of Lori saying that she no longer needs to eat, sleep. If she were to get shot with a bullet or by a pew pew, she would not die because she is translated being, and translated beings don't die. They also are afraid to go to the doctor because the doctor may see that they're translated. According to Uncle Charles, when he was on the cop, because he was explaining Lori's logic here, and it is right. Speaking of SRA, this is a result. Okay. In my opinion, I think that Lori has been raised this inverted way, which is not easy to pinpoint unless you are honing in on them like we have been doing since 2019, under a microscope, under uh, scrutiny. Like, we are here, we're critical thinkers. We are picking this apart. We're picking her apart, because she deserves it. And it's not judging. It's just pointing out all of the harmful things that has gone on, have happened, the victims lying in the wake, in their wake. I'll hold Lori accountable even higher than I do Chad. Those weren't his children. Those were hers. And that's even more disgusting. I even used to compare it to, I'm like, I even feel like the devil is like, oh my God, like embarrassed, like, oh, I wouldn't even go that way. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, there were no accurate words to describe Lori damn Daybell. Okay, it still is not. The worst that I could come up with was deplorable. Um, oh, what's that other one? KJ used to say it all the time. Um, Demonic. I mean, there's so many, but there's none that actually scratch that itch. I'm just like, yeah, no, that's not quite it. It's opposite, like when you love somebody, and you just can't tell them enough. It's like that, but inverted. Okay. I'm just like, I don't have the words for that. Um, it's interesting. It's interesting. And yeah, I mean, she is like high cotton right now. She is like, whoop, whoop. It is some laissez le bon temps roulé over there for her, right? She's going to be a star in prison. Wonder what stars in prison, or I wonder what they're making these days. Does she get an extra Pop Tart? Does she get, ramen noodles so she can practice her hair? I mean, look, I mean, I'm wearing my hair like that. I'm not wearing it. I'm not Lori, first off. I didn't kill my kids. I didn't hurt my kids. She killed her kids. She is a convicted killer, serial killer, in my opinion. A killer, serial killer with help. Actually, worth that comment still gets me, though. I shared it a couple streams ago, I think. It was a comment where this guy, I guess, he said something like, is this the first he was talking about Alex Cox. Is this the first serial killer that actually had like a manager, like a momager, where she points out who to kill and he's like, okay, I'll be your huckleberry. What a dumbass. First off, can we just, I don't know. Some people I can sense or feel, that they're feeling pity. I mean, I might have gone there, I'll use their terms. Not 20% and not even 2%. How about the lower 5%, Barry? Anyways, that was pun intended there. And then invert it because Barry thinks he is above me and above you, and he is definitely above those people right back there. Okay. In my opinion, that's what he's taught. So Lori, of course, is gonna not only walk on them like a doormat, like yesterday's socks. She's gonna sit there and freaking smear the shit out of them. And she is not above that. You know why? She did it in her allocution statement when she brought up Tylee's abuse. Whether she was or not, I'm not here to fight that battle. Neither one are here to divulge, to clear the air. And so I believe everybody. I'm just like, whatever. I'm not a judge, you know. I'm not here. I'm not Lori. Okay. I'm not the Lord's favorite, so to speak. I don't belong to the Lord's favorite club. Not their Lord. Okay. You have to understand. They're worshiping whether they know it or not. I am going to die on this hill. I'm going to die on this hill. I've started to do some major documenting and writing all this out. It is making a compelling case for an extended Bishop Glenn L. Pace memo, except it wasn't from 1990 or 1991. It is fast forward to 2019. And this, my friends, is what happens whenever there's nothing to see here. Nothing ever gets addressed. Nothing ever, it's always somebody else's fault. It's never that person's fault. And it's okay to be accountable. In fact, I prefer people who hold themselves accountable, who are okay with doing constructive criticism and not, just like, oh, let me just do a little, read the room, that kind of thing. Like, be self aware, know that, honey, you're not exalted. Okay. I mean, I would like to be there whenever she gets the memo, that, oh, crap. Oh, I only get one shot, because, but I'm not ugly like her. I'm just saying it because I'm mad right now, or not mad. I'm just triggered. But how she told Colby, um, okay, whatever, believe what you want. Like, basically, I'm not going to respect you, Colby, but I want respect. And that is par for the course with these people. Okay. It's not just Lori and Chad are locked up now, and so we're all safe, No, there are more of these like-minded people, and we are seeing them clog up the true crime headlines a lot. And it goes all the way back to, I mean, think the Lafferty brothers, think about Ervil LeBaron and his cult, think about Jeff Warren. I mean, Warren Jeffs, I always say that backwards, which, I mean, might as well, because they do everything backwards. That Samuel guy, just all these people, and we're like, oh, another one went astray, and you're just like, really? I mean, is that really does that make you feel comfortable and safe? Because to me, that tells me, oh shit, I ain't going to Utah because there's a lot of dangerous people over there. You ever drove in Utah? I've never. It's beautiful, beautiful people. There are beautiful people there. Okay, not everybody is like this. Let's hope not. But I'm just saying that driving, people are so passive aggressive. They're like, screw you, but they don't like, everybody's angry. Everybody is so wound up so tight and they're angry. And I'm just like, dang, I ain't gotta, if I catch this red light and then you pass me up acting like a jerk, and then you pass me up, flip me off, whatever, get your blood pressure all up because you're an asshole. And, and so then we end up coming to the red light at the same time. It's one of those kind of things. And I'm just like, where did that get you? Okay. Um, God has a plan, but everybody in this arena seems to be, God has a plan, yet we are going to control everything in our universe as much as we can. We're going to pet it and love it and hug it and squeeze it, that little thing. But you can't do that. People are so wound up and they're so uptight and they're so stressed out and they're so on the verge of breaking. And we are seeing it with Ruby, Jody, Lori, that other lady, Jennifer Hill, all the ladies for sure. Melanie Boudreaux, we don't mention her enough. Just, oh my God, Jennifer Greenhill or whatever the hell her name is, they don't even know where her husband is, y'all. And he was, oh my God. The mafia ain't got nothing on these people. This is like worse than the Sopranos, but real time, like this is the Mormon mafia, straight up. The Mormon mommy monster mafia, Forium. I don't know. That Richens chick, her too. Thank you, Ravina. Yeah, the hussy will not be talking about anything that I give a shit about. She is a forked tongue. Remember her laugh when we heard her recording with Colby and she's like, I mean, it was like evil, y'all. I was just like, oh my God, she is like, whoa. That is so very telling. So very telling. Who do y'all think is going to be on Dateline? Another thing, which I have to check first, so don't hold me to this, but I do have a Discord. We had a Discord. We used to use it a lot, but I didn't really know much about it. We kind of, my mods and they manage over the Facebook group. So we're going to talk about maybe because I've like shared Netflix before, not shared. I've screen recorded Netflix before, usually it'll black out your screen or Dateline has done that before on my phones. It'll play the sound, but it won't show the screen. It'll just be black. But either way, I think one night too, and I mean, this is just me. I'm just like winging it. I'm just trying to share it so that everybody can see it, because not everybody lives in the country. Not everybody can afford this crap, because, oh my God, y'all, this is what killed me. This is what killed me, is these damn subscriptions. And I mean, I thought I was going to die if I didn't have access to it. And everybody was talking about it and I didn't know what was going on. It was so, speaking of control, right? I'm just trying to control my little universe right here. Like, I'm just trying not to get hit in the face by Lori and her translated being sucker punches. Okay. Cause they hurt, whether she's translated or not, they still hurt. And they don't let me catch my breath. Or I'm sure people who are family members of the victims, I mean, it is so like, I don't know. There's no word or feeling to you. It's not just one word. It is like the ultimate betrayal, the ultimate finger, just it's like a steady bird. And F you to everybody, and most importantly, to the memories of the victims. And that's Tylee, Charles, Tammy, JJ, and Joe. Okay. I'm not prosecution. I don't have to I don't have to like, I don't have to prove my case. It's just a gut feeling. Trust your feelings, y'all. We were born with them, whether you believe in God or not. You were born with those senses. People survived, way before there was technology, way before there were terminology that would be considered conspiracy, and that would make people actually divert away from the actual abuse and support the abuser. And because, I mean, oh my God, the allegations are just so horrendous. So, I mean, they dropped the case because, the allegations were just so crazy. No, I've seen crazier shit. No, I really haven't. But I'm just saying, you got to do better. You're going to have to do better, Satanists, okay? Because y'all suck. And I feel, I mean, they're just so doomed, I'm just like, this is what they grew up being raised in, this environment where their little brains are shattered too. From the trauma, and then it creates multiple personality, not multiple, dissociative identity disorder, which used to be called multiple personality disorder. And that is the ultimate goal for thy offenders, is to shatter our brains by using fear-based, trauma, fear-based, anything, everything. They want us to be like, okay, we'll do whatever you say. Mercy, 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 and we've got to build up a tolerance against this. Earlier today, let me tell you what I saw. Jason showed me. He was there. He listens to like, oh my God, The Voice, and Simon Cowell. I can't, not with all the research I've done. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't look at these people the same at all. I used to look up at them, at these actors and actresses and singers, and I sure don't. Shame on you. Like, this is horrible. And I'm not going to put money into their pockets. That's where I have the power. When there are YouTubers or any platform that you use, and you see them going like off the grid, your power is in that subscription, that view, that dollar at the movie theater, supporting their lifestyle so that they can run amok and just do some really gross ass shit. I'm just being real. Because it's disgusting. And whether or not you believe in this actual stuff, it does happen. This happened. I believe Tylee and JJ for sure 100% are satanic ritual murders, or ritual murders, whatever you want to call it. It was based on a belief system. I was so not happy because I'm not happy about any of this, but I was surprised and relieved whenever Rob Wood, whenever they filed the, no, when they did a press conference saying that Lori and Chad had been indicted, and they said it was for, not ritualistic, but they said for religious beliefs espoused. And I was like, what? Boom. Well, I slammed the door wide open and I've been right here like Big Madge, like what? Because it just, my gut tells me I don't want to look at this stuff. I never wanted to know any of this stuff. I never wanted to find out whether it was true or false. I just was like, whatever. And I mean, okay, but then that's part of the problem. I'm being part of the problem by just being like, yeah, it has nothing to do with me until it does, until it has something to do with you. And then, oh my God, just feel so sorry for people who find themselves just in this situation. It's like the worst for the victims, but the truth of the matter is the family is left here and we are here to shoulder the burden. We are here to drag the cross over the damn justice finish line. And I'll be damned, we are relentless and we are strong. And because sometimes that's all you have. That's all you have left is just determination, faith, um, belief in a just world, where your family members have been horribly, horribly done wrong. Their rights were, I mean, she sliced right through their rights as being a human, just a human being, and just having basic human rights. She sliced and diced through those, and she is doing it still. She is still tormenting people, but she also gives us some content. She also gives us a lot of conversation pieces. She also, and by having these conversations, I'm actively always thinking about, oh, I never thought of that. Like I never thought about this being a weak spot where you call some attention to it and say, hey, let's watch out for this red flag. Cause that's all I can do. We can we can make laws, but we have to enforce them. Nobody is enforcing them. Nobody is running them through the court system. They're just like, oh yeah, no, you'll have to get that to Bob. I'm going on vacation. I'm actually gonna retire. I'm going on early retirement now because nobody wants to freaking deal with it, and it's bad. It's just really bad. Oh, thank you, thank you, Bearcat, and thank you for being here for so long. I appreciate you. Long time listener here. Get it off your chest, girlfriend, right? You need it, and we support you with love. Thank you so much. Thank you. I don't think it's like I used to never even think about what was going on here in these live streams. Even KJ had, and her husband drove down to Louisiana from Tennessee, and she was like, you have to promise me that you're gonna keep doing your live streams. And this was like, oh gosh, 2022 or 23, I forget. And so I was like, okay. I mean, I didn't think I was gonna quit. I'm not gonna quit till, I don't know, my gut says, okay, your work here is done. And then I've gotten further and further into it to where this is my work. Their deaths have become my mission to rid the world of ignorance. They're ridding the world of zombies, allegedly, and I'm ridding the world of ignorance and just trying to just stop, put the blinders on. Just like stop looking at all that noise, because it's noise, and this is just basic human rights. We can't get past that, much less solve all the other, world's problems. I mean, we can't even get over just the basics of protecting our children, of calling things for what they are, for telling people to their faces, not being scared to share your phone number. I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, a lot of people are like, oh my God, you doxed me or somebody got doxed or whatever. And I'm just like, didn't back in the day, like phones were like hanging on the wall and you're literally like rotary dial. I mean, this is for people, I'm 46, so whatever. But, when you call 911, it's not beep, boop, boop. It's like, whoosh, with the dial and the long phone cord. So you could walk all the way clear across the house and pick up your shoes, you know? Um, and still, really, we're on our phone so damn much. How many of them are plugged into the wall and you still have a cord? I'm just saying. It's so many things that I realize about. I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm guilty. I'm so guilty of that. So I'm never better. I'm not ever trying to present myself as like I know everything or I'm better than you. Or I mean, I would dig trenches with you. We're in this together. And so I think it's important for the victims. This is what we can do for these victims who are not here to talk for themselves, to share their side of the story, to do their Dateline debut. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for this woman and her issues with wanting to be this, like the star of the show. She's a narcissist. And that's her. I mean, she's beyond help as far as like, okay, I have boundaries now, right? Because she's dangerous and because there are 3 victims in my family that are dead. My mom was marked as another zombie. And so I was just like, okay, you're going to take my mom too? Because you didn't get your $1,000,000? I mean, that was blood money anyways, bitch. I mean, come on. It doesn't make it make sense, y'all. But she's going to tell Keith Morrison the effing truth. Oh, let's hold our breath, okay? Don't pass out though, because we will pass out if we try to hold our breath. Okay, let's see. Let's see what y'all got. Madly in love with Jesus. All right, love your name. I think it is on right now. Oh, the Dateline interview? Oh, let me butt out. Okay, because I didn't catch the prior comment. I'm sorry about that. Does anyone wonder, did she poison her brother, snake venom, possibly after his use to her? Their relationship was allegedly suspect. Right. So I need someone to keep me on task because I've got some really good videos that are done. I just am like, okay, no, or I don't know. It's like you change my scenery or something, and I'm like, or if I go to sleep, and then I wake up and I'm like, I don't remember what I was doing, so I don't just pick up right where I left off or anything. I don't know how to help me help myself. Does that make sense? Well, thank you. I do, and I've been reading into these statements, and that's why I really appreciate your comment right here. Because when I read, and so maybe, I mean, and I know that we have to do this again. This is Lori Daybell with her left hand punch, right? She's a left hand pather. Just know that. She, here I come to wreck the day, basically. And so you have to kind of what is that? Recalculate, recalibrate, just kind of like your GPS does whenever you pass the exit. And it's like, oh, recalculate. That's what it feels like. It's so, we have no control over our situation. And it's like giving a terrorist everything that you love and saying, please don't hurt it. Please don't hurt me. Please, please, please. And they're just like, mission, like, trash everything, right? Mission destroy. And it sucks. But then I know that I have to be accountable for what I allow and how much of this, am I willing to endure? Because some family members have just been like, okay, like they just it's complicated, it's chaotic, and I understand if people can't. I don't feel like I had a choice. It's like it just shattered my mind, so to speak. It traumatized me immediately. Like it just, I don't know. It shook me. It rocked me to my core. It's like my life just changed in a twinkling of an eye, like they would say. Um, you know, Lori reading from her Book of Mormon in her translation. So and there was no way. I've never had the option to just go back to Prussia, 12th, 2019. I don't even know what that looks like anymore. And so it robs you of everything, which is sad, but you just have to that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to find my way in this. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no direction. I'm just going where my gut tells me, where my intuition, where my heart tells me. I'm following all these things, and I have ADHD, so I orbit. I'm like doing just around and around we go. If I leave something, I'm gonna come back to it. It's just I have to make my rounds, and that's just the way to my brain keeps interested in things. And so I've been reading over these testimonies. Reading them is different than listening to them, I have to say, because, if I read out loud to Jason or you guys, then it's like it's different when it leaves your mouth, your lips, and then you're like, "What did I just say?" That I was reading of theirs, and it just clicks. A lot of things, I think that, being traumatized and being so close emotionally is our brains protect themselves. Thank God, I guess, it's just like, I guess, I don't know. I've not researched this. I haven't had time yet, but it has to, because there are times when it's like it doesn't allow the bad stuff or the triggering stuff in. But, months later, you're able to at least hear it, and then you're like, "Whoa," it'll be heavy, and then you just have to sit with it. You have to process that. I don't it's just it's different for everybody, but yes, it is in a small way, it heals you while you're talking about all of this with you. It has been my most healing, um, you know, testimony. It's been my most, proof. It's the proof. You guys are the proof. Um, yeah. This talk therapy is talk therapy. I see it in Colby, I see it in Megan, I see it in other family members too. It's just what we choose, how we choose to grieve. And so there's no right or wrong way. Um, I know that it's a cycle, and I'm never going to be completely out of it. I don't think any of us are. I don't get to tell you how to grieve. Y'all don't get to tell me how. We need to learn that. Like, we're not the boss of everybody, like and I mean, hey, I'm right here and I'm saying, well, she should have went and told everybody, she should have went and called the cops. But, this is not just being judgmental. This is breaking down a case where there are victims in the wake, and it's, uh, it's going through trial and everything. So, um, I can imagine doing this without you guys. Honestly, this is so heavy, and just to learn how to articulate it has been the hardest thing for me. I felt a lot like I'm a helpless little baby, and like I don't know how to talk. And so I can point at everything, and I'm like, I can show you where everything is. It's in my memory, it's in my brain, burned in there, of all the things that I've seen and looked at. Some of the things I have forgotten, trust me. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. It's a lot of information overload. It has nowhere to go. The body keeps the score, okay? And here we are. And so I'm trying to figure out ways to share this stuff more effectively, because it's way bigger than Lori and Chad. I've connected it. Other people research the same people, just not all of them together. I've caught on to, oh my God, this is SRA 2019, 2025. This is SRA never being, dealt with emotionally, physically, financially. Nobody's ever been held accountable. Where's all the evidence? Well, get one to the trial. Okay, just get it to there. Get it there. I mean, these people. There's too many stories, guys, for this to be. Oh, that's just a money grab. Really? I think they'd rather their virginity or their dignity or their life that they have spent, cutting themselves, wanting to harm themselves, wishing themselves dead, to not even be here, the abuse, those horrible memories. And then maybe they have been pushed into having to do this to others because it's, you're forced into this. You're a child. I mean, it's a very tragic situation that, of course, is never going to get better if it's never acknowledged and dealt with, you know? I don't it blows my mind too when I read these stories, but then I always resonate, and at the center of all that is for sure Tylee and JJ because they were babies, they were kids, okay? They didn't have a choice, they couldn't leave. The adults, they can leave. I get that. Do they deserve it? No, absolutely not. Nobody has the right to harm you. Nobody has that right. But, here we are. And we're having to learn boundaries, and myself included, and, ways of going about things and how to handle and treat others, like it's not just a one-way street like it seems to be, in my opinion, with Lori and friends. It's very me, me, me. Ruby Frankie is huge with this narcissism. It is strong. Okay. It is so strong. And I mean, with I can't diagnose, right? But the same symptoms have happened with Stacy Cox Cope, in which is Lori Vallow and Alex. I'm sorry, Lori and Alex's oldest sister who died. She had an alleged eating disorder. And then we've heard about how Janice would spit meat or food into her napkin and would just sit there and chew it and get the flavor out of it and then spit it into a napkin because she was all about image. It's an image thing, okay? And then, I mean, so you just start to, because I've never had an eating disorder, so I don't compute with that unless I ever have to, like, research it and then, like, really take that subject in and not subject. I'm not trying to be like, please, I'm not trying to be ignorant or anything. So I'm not trying to use triggering language. I'm just trying to barrel through it. But so I'm sorry. It's real life for a lot of people. I just don't have that disorder, or you know what I'm saying? So I don't know what it's like you know, unless I read about it, and because I have empathy. I do. I can put myself in somebody's shoes, not exactly, but I'm just like, "Ooh, I can only imagine what that's like," right? That's another thing. We all project, and we're projecting just like they're projecting. So, I'm projecting right now, I'm sure. I just don't know it because, yeah, I think I'm just speaking my truth or whatever, and so it's like they're projecting all the things, in my opinion, Tim Ballard, Lori, Chad, all of them, every single one of them. They have projected and dehumanized children, men, you know, Charles, Tammy, Joe. If they weren't there, during Joe's life, then we're doing it now. Like people are still being disrespectful is what I'm saying. Like, it's like they get lost in the shuffle, but if they're the heart of this, of all of this, all of the victims, all the babies, all the kids, all these abused children and mistreated and just inverted, and then they end up in prison or whatever because they never had a running start. They never had it. They might have lived in a multi-million-dollar home growing up with all the things, but they didn't have their parents. Their parents were there, maybe. Did they fight a lot in front of them? Did they use the children as pawns? And then thus, that is a generational thing. And I mean, that is true in a lot of our own lives. And so I think that the best place we can start is right here, looking in the mirror. First off, when you do look in the mirror, hug yourself and be like, for real, you deserve it. You do. And so we have to start right here with ourselves. And then, and only then, can we, once we start to recognize things in ourselves, then and only then can we move forward and even begin to, lend genuine love and compassion and just understanding and grace and help others, truly, without expecting anything in return. There are no conditions, but that is a system, unfortunately, that Lori, Alex, all the people in this case, in and around it, they grew up in a system that, a high demand system that demanded so many different personas, character. I don't know the right word here. So many different things. They demanded them to give up their talents, their time. Time is something you never get back. And to be the best, strive to be the best, proselytize, proselytize, proselytize. Members, members. We need members and money, I'm just saying. And so it's very high pressure. There are a lot of kids usually, not always, of course, not a blanket statement, but there are a lot of kids to their parents. You know what I mean? Like there's way more kids than there are parents to go around, first off, but you could be an only child and never have that your parent present, so it depends. But I'm just saying, it's just, like my mom and Uncle Charles, they came from a family of 7. And I mean, I can spot a lot of generational things in all of them. I'm just like, ooh, and that's my aunts and uncles. And I'm just like, okay, so, these are probably some things that maybe need to be dealt with, acknowledged first, like you first have to recognize it in yourself before you can even know what you're doing, know what you're asking for, know what you're seeking. And that's okay. I just want to break it. I want to be part of the solution. I don't want to hand these things off to my kids, their kids, and their kids' kids, like I don't want them to be assholes. I don't ever want them to be the bully, you know. Now am I saying, that's realistic? No, it's not realistic, but I mean, I'm just, because it's real life in there. There's my idea of what it should be, and then or my expectations, and then there's the truth, right? And that is where I try not to have high expectations because then it's my fault, it's my fault for thinking and you not being able to read my mind. You can't read my mind, so you didn't know that I wanted a double scoop chocolate cone, ice cream cone. You came back with nerds, and I'm just like, and then mad at you because you didn't read my mind and because my expectations are to myself. Obviously, people can't read your mind, so it's like, oh my God, I've done this before. I've had my expectations way up high, you know? Anyways, I don't know why I'm even talking about all this, but it's just the statements though, to answer your question, 15 years later. I mean, I listened to Debbie, Alex's first wife. I listened to hers again, her phone interview with Detective Moffat. I'm sorry, I have to close my eyes because my filing system, right? And then I read the statement too. And I also found, because I'd forgotten about it, there was an interview with an FBI agent, which is interesting. An FBI agent and I want to say Chandler and Gilbert, one of the two or both, I don't remember. But I mean, the FBI being there was interesting to me because they interviewed Jason Mao. It's not the one that's out there. That's not a video yet. I mean, will we see it? An audio? Will we hear it in her trial? That is like literally at the end of this month, y'all. It's go time. It's like ding, ding, ding. That's crazy. But that interview was so telling to me. I was just like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." I want it on camera because, I feel like this one would be pretty stern, like I need it to be, like my expectations are, right? And that's not been the case with all these people. They've all have the white gloves on, not just white gloves, but they're like cashmere, they're the expensive kind. And they just all seem to be treated, which I guess, I don't know. I don't know because I'm not there. I'm not doing it. So I can't say. But it just seems like, I don't know. I want to see some rough them up, like you can't handle the truth. I want to see like good cop, bad cop, and that's my expectations. And they were smashed because I saw, oh, I'm sorry to be bothering you right now. Um, you know, would you rate this as a 5? Or, you know what I mean? Like it was very much like that, like just a survey or something. We're sorry to disturb you right now. And it just, I know it's bizarre and it's got to be for the officers as well. You know, I can't even imagine reading all this stuff, investigating all this stuff, collecting scene evidence and knocking on doors to find out they're left, they fled Arizona and went to freaking Idaho. And then, I mean, just, it's like, what? It's like we're all just sitting back here scratching our heads like, "What's going on?" And it's like we're in a daze, and they're just super fixated on ridding the world of zombies. Straight up. Straight up. So, but it's interesting to read these things again. And, um, I'd said last week, but then again, Lori happened. So, I think I do have a live stream Tuesday. See you next Tuesday. Right? Wink, wink. I learned that actually from the Idaho Rexburg detectives. See you next Tuesday. And I was like, what? And I can't believe because I'm a gutter rat, straight up. I'm like, I'm corny. I like to, I'm corny, just like my uncle Charles was. He was real, um, oh my God, what's the word? Punny, very punny. um, he'd say something like, when birds are flying and you know how they'll make like a V or something in the sky, and he'd be like, "You know why, how do you say that? I'm gonna mess it up. I do that too. I mess things up." uh, "Do you know why it's longer on one side and not the other?" And I was like, "Yeah, why?" He was like, "'Cause there's more birds on that side." I mean, just anyways, I'm just saying. Yeah. Just silly things like that. But he was down to earth. He was funny, and I miss him a great deal. And I just want to say that another time before Lori does whatever she's going to do, because it's definitely not going to be holding herself accountable. It's going to be villainizing everybody she killed. And this is the severity of this. This is the severity of this. This is the reality of this. And it's disheartening. It's disappointing. And it hurts, It hurts because they're dead, They I mean, Chad, when he got the death penalty, I was like, or they were debating whether or not to, you know, um, whether to, and whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it was about the death penalty. And I was like, I mean, I forget the quote, but it was something to the effect of, they will have, I don't know, I'm going to mess it up. So, afforded, they'll be afforded more than they gave their victims, basically. And so I know I jacked that all up. So I'm gonna have to go find it and then share it one day. But we're gonna go over those, not today, but I'll set up another stream. I have Joe Schmo on his channel. I've been planning for that, Joe. So I could not be like a rat or like whatever in a wet paper bag. I couldn't find my way out of it. and he's patient and he's very calming. So that's good. Can you imagine if he was a spaz like me? And then, but I just get flustered. It's like gridlock in my brain when, like I know it's in there. Trust me, there's so much info in here. I don't know if you want to know it. It's about this case. It's about these cases. It's about this Mormon movement that has obviously reared its ugly head, for sure with this movement, starting with Julie Rowe. I think maybe even Lori's uncle, Rex, has said stuff about having friends. What's that guy's last name? I caught it. Starts with H. But some friends of his who had kind of gotten into this strange fringe doctrine or whatever a long time ago. And I'm like, see, it's never addressed, y'all. It's just, nothing to see. Just ostracize, just turn your back on those people over there. You're not, you don't believe the same as us, Lori, but she does. And unfortunately, but I wish these people would at least stop. This is what you can do for the victims, is stop, peer in. Don't be scared to peer in. It's easier to peer into other people's disasters whenever it's not happening to you. It's easier to analyze outside rather than in, right? You don't really see your family dynamics, or that like by examining and investigating, researching all of these different subjects, all of this, Mormonism. I had no clue about Mormonism. Didn't even know Lori and Charles were freaking Mormon. Okay. It wasn't a hot topic. It wasn't like, it was a non-issue, I always say. But it's like, okay, well then you frame that, which we're looking at, we're like analyzing all these people. We show up in these chats. We talk about these very important, very hurtful. I mean, they are just egregious is a good word. They're not good. These are crimes against kids, are the worst. And we just want justice, right? We demand it. Like, it's like in our heart and our soul, and we just want justice, but we can say it all day, every day. And hey, it's twice on Sundays. It's 2 for Sunday. No, but I mean, I don't want to talk about it. I want to be about it. Like, I want to be the change that I want to see. Right. So I've got to start making more aggressive moves forward to put my so-called, you know what I mean? Like, my money where my mouth is. And I want to do it by showing it. I don't want to just talk about it. Oh yeah. What does that do? Talking about it, it helps. It helps heal. It helps me heal. But I mean, that's just me. If I'm healing and I'm also doing work to better understand myself and where I am in my dynamics, in my world view, then that's when I'm like, oh, okay, self-reflection is great, right? I love to I do. I'm like, do. And I like to be alone in my thoughts, more now as I've gotten older. And since all this happened, I do not do well if I'm not able to do that. Like, when I fly, to like Idaho, or when I go to Arizona here shortly soon, in a couple weeks, it's going to be chaotic. I'm going to be out of my element. And so it's like a readjust, like I'm having to adjust, recalibrate, and just like, it's really hard, to do that while taking in massive amounts of information every day. Then on top of that, we have all of you guys. And then we have all the creators, and I mean, we all just want to make sense of it. But a lot of us, I've noticed, not here, you guys, no, not, you know who you are, the diehards, who have been here, or who have been here since you latched on, I mean, the victim stories grabbed you somewhere. and they help, they gripped your heart and you're like, okay, I'm gonna see this case, through, because you connected somewhere. And I've found that fascinating and beautiful all in the same breath, like I can empathize with Joe in the sense that I've been through parental alienation from my son for 6 years. I think it's what kicked my parents into high gear and didn't just say, "Oh, well, she'll let us see JJ whenever he turns 18." I mean, can you imagine, right? It was hard. It's hard to grieve my son whenever, I mean, we've reunited since then, thank God. But to grieve someone, especially someone you birthed and you nurtured, and that's your baby, right? But your son, your kids. Okay, so to grieve someone who is alive is like so, I don't even know. There right? It's I don't wish it on my worst enemy. I swear I would never wish this on my worst enemy. I would never use my children as pawns ever. Um They need both their mom and their dad. And it's also awesome if they have bonus step parents or grandparents, I mean, it's the more the merrier. What is wrong with love? Nothing. Nothing. It's like the world's not a crappy place. We just are like, "Oh, we gotta control everything," we can't help ourselves because we're not dealing with our own crap, because we're not taught how, and, you know what I mean? So it's just like we have to grow up. Not all the way. I mean, I act a donkey all the time. But I mean, it's true. I just wanna break the cycle. I wanna break these chains because Operation Underground Railroad uses them. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for your experience for sure, and everybody's experience who have experienced that before or now. I'm so sorry, and it's not right. But you just have to keep working on yourself. You just have to keep digging in because failure is not an option. You know, you can't give up. You can't, because somebody somewhere is looking up to you, and you can't do that. Like we need you. We need you, right? The world is a better place with you in it. We need all the good people who want to do better, just maybe don't know what to do. I didn't know either. I'm just winging it too. So it's yeah, that too. Old Tally's support system took the side of her mom. You think that grandma or Aunt Summer would have been like, "Where's Tylee? Show her now." Nope, nothing for poor Tylee. It's hard to read because it's just it's not right. I beat myself up. And I mean, I never went there. I never went there. So I'm not excusing myself. I'm just like, I was so, my head was up my own hind end. I was in my own little world, and I just was whatever, and I wish I had been more involved with my family. I was just like, I'm just trying to get away from my family. That's always been me. I'm kind of alone. I'm the black sheep, I guess. I don't know. It depends on what family dynamic you look at, or how you view that. Compared to like watching the Frankies on the Hulu thing, y'all, that was bizarre. That was a crazy. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to go over that too. I'm gonna have to like book every damn day this week and just like go live, because there's so much to do and catch up on before it gets too far down and we forget that information. Because boy, it's like we go to sleep. It's like something big will break, and or like let's say Dateline this Friday, or like Hulu, what, Thursday, right? I just paid for Hulu, and then I mean, I haven't had it in years since the hurricane, and I was paying $80 damn a month, y'all. That is crazy, and everything was going so fast. I couldn't stop long enough to go cancel all the things because I don't know. self-sabotage is what I do. And it's something I'm trying to break, it's just something, I don't know. Anyways, but that was interesting. Hulu, and then the news about this whole Dateline with Lori right before her trial. Is that really smart? I'm just gonna say no. And I mean, I have no experience in any of this stuff, so it's like, I would say that you should sit your butt down, like maybe www.shh.com, right? Hey, librarians. Or no, that says librarians. Yeah, I thought, what? And you have a wrench. So, are you messing with me? Are you messing with me, girl? I know you are. I would know that snark anywhere, right? What's up? Oh, um, she is not. No, she is not smart, but she wants to be heard. Again, this is another thing. I think that there was not enough not enough attention, not enough of something that Lori's been trying to feel her whole life. And being raised in this inverted system where, I mean, I'm going to prove it. I've been documenting this stuff and compiling it, forever now, but more now than ever, because, they can, for example, they will use they'll praise Lord, they'll praise God, they'll praise, what's Heavenly Father, they'll praise and use the same name as you and I. If you pray to God or whatever, they'll use the same terminology, Lord, like they'll say these things in public, but according to the victim statements in the Hamlin case, they allege that they are really praising Lucifer. But how do you prove someone's beliefs? Isn't that like amendments and stuff and our rights, constitutional, right? So, I mean, you can't pry there. You can't be like, do you worship Satan? And they're like, no. Well, what are you going to do? How are you going to prove it? Besides through their fruit. By ye fruits, ye shall know. By their actions. I mean, come on, I mean, but then again, like Lori and others, they don't have a criminal past besides, I remember pulling her report. I just didn't really know how to read it back then so much. But there were like a couple of, I would say it was like shoplifting or something. I'll have to pull it. Don't quote me on that. I'll tell you. It's her right to be nuttier than a fruitcake, right? You're right. She shouldn't have rights though. You know why? Because she's convicted. Okay. I don't know. Are there any other cases? I need to look these up another time. Yeah, it was also her victim's rights to live, not be murdered and not be exploited and not be tortured, killed, wrapped in duct tape, to not be dismembered. I'm sure, yeah, we can all have rights, but it's like when people stop, they want rights, but then they don't stop long enough to make sure that they're not infringing on somebody else's rights, with all their, it's crazy, I mean, we got to do better, we got to do better. Yeah, it's like, oh, somebody said she likes diamonds. Is the death penalty on the table in her next trial? No. Nope. I mean, Jason, my fiance, said this last night. He was like, man, I wish Arizona would just like implement the death penalty on her ass. He was like, it's not like whatever. I don't forget what he said exactly, but I was like, well, wait, would she be able to represent herself? Would she, be able to be pro se if they put the death penalty on the table? Cause I'm game too. But I mean, it's the taxpayers that have to pay. it's got to come from somewhere, And so I remember whenever I don't know if she had already been convicted in Idaho at this point I'm about to tell you about, or, I don't know in the timeline of it all. But um I remember, like, on court TV, they had a panel, of course, about whether or not Arizona should file, charges or pursue any kind of justice for Charles and Brandon. And I mean, I remember being so like offended by that because I mean, it's my uncle. That's my blood, Like, anyways, it's like they deserve their justice too. So over here was Tammy, JJ, and Tylee because of jurisdictions. Subject matter jurisdiction is what that just reminded me of Daryl Brooks, y'all. Speaking of, I'm so sorry for those people's experience with that trial. And I mean, him being a stranger, I'm sure helped it a little bit, but all the same, disrespectful, um, not at all not at all concerned with people's, wasting people's time, money, resources, time, I'm gonna say it again, clogging up the court system even more. I mean, our head's about to break and they're just like, whatever, it's just about me. Roll the red carpet out, I need my margarita. Because it's prime time, because I'm evil, basically. She's like gotta have the attention, whether it's negative or positive, and it's obviously negative. I mean, there's gonna be some people who wife her, there's a lot of that going on and whatever, I'm gonna be like Janice and I ain't gonna send her no damn present. Okay. That's it. So, but the death penalty thing, I was just like, wow. I was like, screw it, last night when we had this conversation, I was like, I mean, if they did, it's not like they wouldn't have to house her. They could just send her right on back to Idaho there. I mean, because that's where she has to go if when I'm gonna just say when she is convicted for Charles, his murder, and then for Brandon's. I mean, I don't know if after Charles's she'll have to go, like after she's sentenced here in Arizona. I say here, like I live there. After she's sentenced, will she have to go back to Idaho? I doubt that because that would be too expensive and that's a lot of sage. A lot of sage burning along the way. She does need a dunce cap. Y'all, it's like a busted can of biscuits. You know how they just and then all that because the perfection, the purity thing that's I mean, it's a miserable life though, if I'm being honest. I've tried to look at this case and like research it. How would Lori and Chad see this? Which is why I can see why scriptures are chiasmic, chiasms, and I'm like, ooh, now when I go and read all the authors that they followed, all the PDFs, oh my God, the PDF files are everywhere, literally. And I mean, I see the same rhetoric over and over and over again. I'm like, it's like walking in a landmine, like, oh, when are we going to go extremo? Boom. I mean, it's everywhere. And if you don't even know what you're looking at or that's laced all throughout everybody's writings, whether it's from the Bible or not, whether it's from Joseph Smith or Kermit the Frog. I'm just saying it's like it is just pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. And Lori knows the scriptures. She's proven that many a times. But you can know them all day, every day. It doesn't make you a good person just because you can memorize stuff or because you saw them so many times, just like all the songs or all the prayers, like all the things that are just indoctrinated into our heads and even especially as little children. It's like nursery rhymes. Oh my God, Google your nursery rhymes, y'all. They are so they're wild and wicked even, I'm just like, "Oh my God, is that what that means?" Fee, fi, fo, fum. I mean, that's just one, there's plenty. Ashes, ashes, we all fall. I mean, it's nuts. It's nuts, y'all. We are all indoctrinated. Okay, so don't be picking on nobody. Don't be picking on no. That's my advice. Don't be like, you're in a cult or you're a whatever. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Smash them lips together. London bridges, yes. Oh yeah, I know. I know. You know what I did pick up on though, to kind of double back on forget the name earlier. I had it up here forever. It was about Alex and the weird relationship between Lori and Alex. Um Whenever I was going over all that stuff again, and Jason Mao and his wife, they even interviewed his wife, and Lori did not like his wife. Nikki Wood is her name, and they got married in 2016. Jason Mao and Nikki Wood, and I've always wondered, because it's a small world after all, right? It goes with the rest of the comments we just had, but Rob Wood, I'm just like, how many damn Woods are there? I get it, there's a lot of people, cousins, I get it. But I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's one of those questions that I think anybody would have. Um, it's first thing, like my mama would ask, um, who's your mom and dad? Who's your grandma and grandpa? To see if they know them, and you're just like, oh Lord. Okay. Oh, the Babinos? Oh Lord, and you're just like, am I related to my new boyfriend or something? Please don't let me be related, I'm joking, of course, but um I mean, that's just something that at least I always observed older people would do. They would ask who your mom and them are. Then they start asking, how's your mom and them? That's just a Louisiana thing. Or for sure here. I can say that because I live here, but I don't live anywhere else. So is that AZ? Nikki Wood. That's perfect. Would anybody marry a doomsday cult loser? Nikki Wood. I get it. I love it. Bring it. You'll be here all week. Yeah. Yeah, it was in Arizona, if that's what you're asking. Um, let's see. Hey, Zero. What's up? Hey, Carolina. I didn't get to say hey to everybody. I came in bang bang, right? Just triggered and just uh I was still being nice though. That's me being nice. I mean, I have my moments, where I try not to share them because, it's just not nice. And so if you have nothing to say nice, then you say nothing at all, but then you gotta get it out, right? So that's what Jason's for. He told me so, and he's, shared. He's my rock. So, um, I don't know. I don't hate Lori. I don't hate anybody. I mean, I've been divorced twice. And I don't hate my children's fathers, I don't I don't have room for that. There's enough of that. But I don't gotta like you. Okay. You can go over there and I'll go over here and we can coexist just like we did before and just co-parent, just like, you know what I'm saying? Like it, because our choices brought our children into this world. And so, oh my God, you still want the best for your children. You can't be like Lori Daybell and use your children as pawns. Be best friends with your son, who that's not his job. Okay, that's not his job. That what I'm saying. Like, I never understood that comment at first. I was like, treated you like a boyfriend. And whenever Colby shared that with Keith Morrison Dateline interview, I want to say the first one, that I think they still took it off the market. Like they not deleted it, but I'm sure you can't see it, or I haven't looked in a while though. So, but it was Where Are the Kids? And I want to say it had interviews with Melanie Pulowski. I'm sure people do have transcripts, or maybe it let them screen record, which I can do. I'm gonna try. on my StreamYard. I just can't stream it to YouTube. So I don't know yet about Discord. I don't know if there's rules, but I mean, I'm not really platformed there, but I just have to kind of do some mental gymnastics to kind of figure that out. I like figuring things out. those those kind of things I can wrap my head around all day, 11 times a day. Okay. But you know, Lori Daybell throws a wrench in it again. And I'm just like, I got nothing. I got nothing. What you got? It's just one of those mysteries for life now. Which it's only going to bring even more questions, in my opinion. It's also going to bring some answers. Not saying anything at all is saying a mouthful too. That's great. Remember that? Yeah, that we were like appalled, right? Because who does that? The Lord's favorite does that. That's who, right? She's not the Lord's favorite. But, somebody needs to tell her because she did not get that memo at all. That must have been on the Seven Gatherers website, or not website, but their email address. I hope we can see their messages from the Seven Gatherers because there's only 17 allegedly, probably more. They probably deleted them. I don't know. We'll never know. But I want to know what conversations they kept separate. The Seven Gatherers, the women, on his way to a harem, what did they talk? Because they talked about some pretty wild stuff just in regular text messages. What the hell were 17 of those messages in-house? It was like in the same mail, like it would be like me emailing myself or having 7 or 6 other women and we're all just sharing the same email, so it's like in-house or whatever within the app. And I would love to see what they felt so moved to have to hide it or to send a message there. It's kind of like using Telegram or, there's people that do some really, there's always the people who are going to exploit everything. So, I mean, this could be a beautiful thing, for me and my family and everybody I know. But then there are some people opposite of you who are doing that for nefarious things. And I mean, that's just the world, right? In my opinion. But let's see, share screen. Yeah, I was going to show this too. I should have been showing this while I've been talking. But here we are. This was Jason was my fiance, was actually, let me share the date first. Because of COVID, okay, blessing and a curse, right? There's two sides, the sword. And so this was March 6th, almost 5 years ago, almost 5. So 4 days from now, it'll be 5 years exactly that Lori Vallow Daybell was extradited from Hawaii, from Kauai jail, where there were cockroaches and she did not like that. Hers did not like that jail life. Okay. And I mean, she loves being hot. Like she can't stand to be cold. She can't stand it. And she's always cold. So, I mean, you do the math, let me know what you think. But it's like, you would think that she would want the warmer climate. So I guess she really doesn't like cockroaches more than she, prefers her. I mean, wants her preferred, room temperature or whatever. I don't know. But I just find it interesting. I'm glad we went over that article just now about what she said when Kobe Bryant and COVID and everybody is there to see her. Everybody is going to be watching her. That is what Dateline is going to be about. That's what I think. Because it's all about Lori. She's a narcissist. And so if it's like her children were a reflection of how she saw herself. Like that's where she got her validation, was through her own children, instead of going and doing great and wonderful things and being, the bar was not high. All she had to do was not murder them. I mean, Really, it's just like basic things, food, roof over your head, uh, the basics, right? And that was just too high for her. But so this was Friday afternoon. It was March 6th. We are going to watch Lori. This was my first time seeing her on the TV, like I'm sure many of you have, where she walked in and she goes right in front of our family. Basically there's on the front row, Larry always sits at the end. So I'm like, well, that's Lori. I mean, Larry, oh my God, that's Larry. When we go to a restaurant or whatever, he's always like, oh, he's after everybody, like he lets everybody out or in. And then, um, he's the cap. he's the man of the table and so that's what he did. And they were wearing, Mom and Larry were wearing the lays around their neck. A couple from Hawaii had made them for them for protection and for this court hearing in particular. And so you'll see lays on their necks. And then you see Lori walk in. I even noticed one time some of the officers using like hand signs, and so we're like, okay, well, they're watching Chad, who's not arrested yet. They don't know where the kids are. Lori's just now getting extradited to the mainland, and having to finally answer, tell the truth, Lori. It's right now. It's now, not 5 years from now, from this point right here, when you couldn't produce the kids. That's a little too late, sister, in my opinion. But she, to me, was so smug, so arrogant. She was literally looking down her nostrils at everyone. I wasn't in there, right? But everybody, the world, the judge, every country, every continent, okay? Her children, her husband, her estranged husband, her husband before that, all the things. Like, it was a big F you with her nose, okay? And she does it to this very day. And she looks down at everyone because she's just so high and mighty. I'm like, is her head like, is it on a swivel or something? And like, it's not straight, I don't know. But she looks down on everyone. And that should tell us a lot about, Lori, just by, reading people's body language and stuff. Don't read mine. I throw gang signs. It's a crappy picture too, but yeah, Chad ends up showing up. Colby mugs him down at the very end. It is awesome. Look, there's Ray Homercio. Look, he has no hair. I got to get a better picture. Hold on. Oh no. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna refresh it. Just try that. Or is it just crappy? That's 2 news. Hold on. Let me go find a better one. Hang tight. Yeah, there's Hermosillo. There's my cousin Cole. Well, you can't see now. All right, let me go look instead of watching the video. Mm-hmm. Thank you guys for being here. I really do appreciate it. That was my mom clearing her throat. I can hear it. All right. Okay. Let's see. Idaho News on Demand. Let me see if this one's better. Now it says 2 news also. All right. KTVB is a good station. Yep. Oh, it's much better.
Cell phones need to be silenced.
Silence. Okay. I got to turn this one off and I'll be back over there. Okay. Sorry about that. All right. Much better, huh? Yeah. I'll skip a little ahead. I mean, oop. Oh, we missed her walking in. Hold on. Oh, okay. Look at her. Right. Just looks that way and everything. There's my mom, my dad, Colby. I was so triggered when I saw her do this. What the hell is she laughing about? He just told her where the cameras were. I want to know with this attorney right here, because they asked to
All
be
rise.
released, from her case.
District Court Magistrate Division is now in session. The Honorable Karen Evans presiding.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Oh my God, Snotty McToddy, huh? I'm gonna back it up and I'm gonna slow mo it. Okay, I have to. I have to, because this was so pivotal for me, just in like understanding, like taking the temperature, like taking your child's temperature, to see what you're dealing with. Do they have fever? What like a forecast, kind of like looking at the weather. I don't know. It's just like trying to get a read on her, like, where are the kids and why is she hiding them? And I mean, already this woman has claimed, her and her brother has claimed self-defense at this point. We don't know where the kids are. She won't produce them. And because of that, here we are. Okay. But then she's going to wait. Okay. I'm just putting this right there right now. She's going to wait till 2025. And, oh, Keith, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to talk like Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm not picking, but I'm just saying the truth. Um, Hold on just one second, because I just want to do a reminder. Who's ready to be triggered?
You're the most hated mom in America. Lori Vallow Daybell, also known as Mommy Doomsday, the exclusive jailhouse interview.
You've heard a lot of stuff, Keith. What I tell you will be the truth.
An all-new Dateline next Friday.
Oh, I can't wait for Dr.
You're the
G.
most hated mom in America. Lori Vallow Daybell, also known as Mommy Doomsday, the exclusive jailhouse interview.
You've heard a lot of stuff, Keith. What I tell you will be the truth.
An all-new
Yeah,
Dateline
not what
next Friday.
80 other people told her.
Oh
told
my
them.
God. What are your responses? Please leave them in the comments down below.
I
We
meant to
have
say
to talk about
reactions.
this.
Responses. Yeah. It's like we're going backwards in time here. She is regressing bad. When you don't think Lolo can go to a new low, and then
Also, I wonder
Oh.
what her attorney thinks.
yeah, he has a fool for a client, right? So yeah, you're so low, Lolo, and it's like we're below the floor now. We're sub basement. I mean, it's Louisiana. We don't even have basements, but we're in hell. She is, for sure. She is a tormented individual who tormented everybody. Everybody. Still doing it today. Little Brands had sent me a meme, and it was like these witches, and they were dancing, and it says "Weekend," but it's spelled like WICCAN. We can dance if we want to. And I'm like, oh my God, that just went through my mind. So thank you for great laughs every time I see it. Little Brands. Hey, allegedly innocent. She avoids eye contact when she says, "What I tell you will be the truth." Yeah, that's when she looks up and like I said, my face throws gang signs. Hers is like throwing daggers. Yeah. I don't know. The Lord's favorite. Lori is the Lord's favorite. Tell your friends. Don't convert. Okay, I'm just trying to find my way back to this one. Okay, let me slow this down because I find it fascinating. And what am I doing? Playback speed. I'm gonna turn it down though, so I'm not trying to hear no bro. Okay. I'm not trying to be scared. more. Okay, let me back that ass up. Excuse my French. So right ahead of us, there's Colby, Kelsey, my cousin, Ray Hermosillo. I mean, there she comes. And then Mom and Larry and Brandon are right there. Okay. Colby said something that I never knew, but I forget what he said. Like he said that she looked directly at Kay and just gave this like revenge look. It's like my mom didn't ask, "Hey Charles, whenever, I can't foresee your murderous freaking wife here is going to kill you. Can you for sure leave your insurance money to me? I'm your sister." No, that's not how that goes. You know, that's not how that works. He had discussed it with her and she was like, "Why don't you leave it to your boys?" That's got to be an awkward position, but my aunts and uncles, that's what they do these kind of things for each other, where when my uncle went out of the country, my mom was I want to say the whatever power of attorney. There's you entrust people, I guess. I don't know, I've only had my one brother, so it's not the same dynamics, but that's how it should go. Lori, she trusted, and look at that, right? She trusted her family dynamic, if you think about that, to not answer, not heed, not entertain any of Charles's emails or phone calls, or their grandson, their quote unquote grandson, which I remember whoever it was earlier that said about Tylee, they never asked like Summer never asked about, "Hey, show the kids show Tylee to us." Well, I don't get any kind of, I feel like they're relieved also that JJ's not around. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm sure they would tell me no. And I mean, I'm sure I'm being very one-sided right there, I'm not gonna say they don't care, but I don't really see it. I wasn't blood with, to Tylee. I wasn't around her a lot. She was a teenager. She was about the same age as my daughter, a little older. But I mean, I feel like she's my niece-ish, you know what I mean? Like that age bracket, because her and Colby, my 2 kids were in between. It was very staggered, with their ages. And so I just kind of look at them like that because, she's my step cousin technically, but I don't know. Heart knows no boundaries, And so I just look at her even like a daughter in that sense. Like she could be my daughter. Just like Lori told my daughter, Ashlyn, that she was special. I want to go kick her ass just for saying that. Like I know, she knows. We don't need you, translated being. We don't need you to tell us anything, okay? The Lord's favorite right here. She is laughing her ass off. She thinks this is cute. She is wearing a bulletproof vest. And that's what translated beings who do not die and do not taste death and who wreak a lot of havoc. Okay. This is what translated beings look like. In the Mormon realm, tell your friends, okay? Especially the extreme ones. This is what translated beings look like. This is what you turn into when you read Visions of Glory. And my family turned into victims, straight up, Anyways, I just wanted to share that with y'all. Let me fix the speed on this. Oh, look, old Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, right? Okay, let me do this.
All rise.
Looking for Honey Boo Boo there, Chad Daybell has the gall to be there. And I don't know if anybody knows this, and I don't have it right here on hand to show you, but I can show you that Justin Lum, who is a reporter in Arizona, Fox 10 News, okay, he shared, like on Facebook, they would post pictures or they'd write things. Okay, so whenever this hearing happened, there was actually a Paul Mitchell vehicle outside. I remember that. That's not what I was going to tell you, but I just remembered that right there. And so we were like, people were like, "Oh my gosh, she getting her hair done," like at the jail, because she was a hairdresser. Just funny, until we find out that Tim Ballard is directly funded by Paul DeJoria, which is, he owns Paul Mitchell and lots of other things. But so that little tidbit right there, but Justin Lum shared that Chad Daybell was brought in from a separate entrance to this courtroom. And even he said even family members had to come in, the same way everybody else did. I'll say interesting, right? I'll say some brotherhood, interesting stuff, right? Woo, in my opinion. So why would Chad Daybell get exaltation status? Is he the Lord's favorite too? We just didn't get
Thank you. Please be seated.
the message. Crazy, y'all. Yeah, I know. Yes. They just think they're being persecuted and that everybody's on a witch hunt. And that is an interesting choice of words they all
All right,
use.
before we get started,
Diddy did.
I'm going to review
Lori,
one thing for
Ruby.
the audience here today
Crazy.
regarding disruptive behavior. Any activity or behavior which is considered disruptive by
was
the
talking
court
to all
will
of us.
result in removal from the courtroom. Any spectator who creates a visual or auditory disturbance of the court proceedings may be removed from the courtroom and or the building
You'd
at
have to
any
remove
time
them.
at the discretion of me or court security.
Do we get to go to the same entrance as Chad, the special one, or? But yeah,
We now call
that
the
kind of
case
floored me.
Madison County Magistrate Division of the District Court, CR 3320-302, State of Idaho
Yes.
versus Lori Noreen Vallow. Counsel for Ms. Vallow appears at the defense table. We have Ms. Elcox,
I know.
Mr. Webb, and Mr. Means. Counsel for the state is Mr. Wood and Mr.
Wow, this
Rannell.
was so
This is the date
long
and time
ago.
set for an initial appearance.
What you looking
The
at?
defendant is also present here in the courtroom. Counsel for defense in the
Janet,
court pleadings
notice that her
designates
parents aren't
Ms.
here.
Vallow,
Her
aka
sister's
Ms.
not here.
Daybell. How would your client like to be referred
5
to by
years.
the court?
Now they're showing up. Why?
Mrs.
Why?
Daybell, please, Your Honor.
Now they support her? Why? Because it's against my,
Ms.
it's
Daybell,
like,
do you read, speak, and understand
oh,
the English language?
I've got feelings.
Ms.
Lots.
Daybell, did you fill out a notification of rights form with your counsel prior to the hearing here today?
Yes.
Do you understand your legal rights here today?
Yes.
I
Do
think
you have
so.
any questions about the form that you filled out or your rights?
No.
All right, we'll proceed forward then.
Chad looks like a frog. He always doing like this. His eyes.
Ms. Daybell, it's my understanding that you've hired these
A
three
lizard.
attorneys that are with you here today, and that's your position that you'd like to retain your own private
5
counsel. Is
weeks,
that
I
correct?
say.
Yes.
They say 4.
Did you get a copy of the criminal complaint as well as the arrest warrant that has been issued
You're
in this
killing me,
matter?
Smalls.
Yes.
Gird up your loins.
Ms. Daybell,
Oh, you
I
see,
can read
she
the,
rolled her
the
eyes.
criminal complaint in its entirety, or we can summarize it.
I didn't have a
You
channel
can
when this
read-
came out, so
Ms. Daybell,
look at my
I can read the criminal complaint in its entirety, or we can summarize it going through each of the charges. Which would you prefer?
We will
Oh
waive
my
a
God.
formal reading, Your Honor.
Keep them coming.
We'll just go through the counts then, one by one, as well as the
Can't you
penalties.
portal? I mean,
This criminal
What's the deal,
complaint
Pickle?
was filed here in Madison County on February 18th, 2020.
with her pink handcuffs.
It is State of Idaho versus Lori Noreen Vallow, aka Lori
Sure
Noreen
did.
Daybell. It charges
Gave her $30 a month after
5
that.
different counts. The
Right.
First count is desertion and non-support of children or
Not
spouse.
zombies.
That
Children.
count is a felony under Idaho law, Idaho Code 18-401.
She is like
Section
mugging him down. She's trying to figure him
Punishment
out.
is up
Sounds
to a
like, looks
4-year
like.
maximum imprisonment in the state penitentiary and or up to a $500
Well, they
fine.
upgraded.
It designates or alleges that the
Oh my
defendant,
God.
Lori Noreen Vallow, aka
Yeah.
Lori Noreen Daybell, on or between the 23rd of September
Absolutely.
2019 and the 18th day of
And
February
the church even did too.
2020 in the county of Madison, state of Idaho,
Oh,
did desert a child under the age of 18
perfect.
to wit, JV, date of birth 5/25/12, who was dependent upon the defendant for care education, or support with the intent to abandon JV.
Here, this is what the church was doing. This is the church
Jody?
whenever Chad and Lori
I
happened.
need you to step out.
Just saying.
I have my church.
That's great. Step out of the house.
No, I'm not gonna step out of the
Step out of the
house.
house. Step out of the house.
It's the church.
We're just gonna sit.
Whoa, whoa,
We're gonna
whoa.
be up front.
Wait a minute, how do you come in my house? Look, they go into my house.
So have a seat right there.
Do you have a search warrant?
Have a seat right
Do you
there.
have a search
Have a
warrant?
seat right
Right.
there.
Okay, I did it.
I'll explain everything after. Have a
I'm
seat
just
right
trying to
there.
get back over here. All right.
Also a
Right.
felony under Idaho
That's the
Code
church. She just rolled her
18401
eyes right there.
subsection 1.
Oh my
It
God, I
is
can't find it.
punishable by up to 14 years in the state penitentiary
That's
and
the
up
church
to
trying to get
and
out of
or
the
up
Chad
to a
and Lori
$500
case.
fine. It alleges that the defendant, Lori Noreen
Send in
Vallow,
letters.
aka
Trying to
Lori
get you
Noreen
out of the case,
Daybell,
too.
on or between the 8th day of September 2019 and the
Make it make
18th
sense.
day of February 2020 in the county of Madison, state of Idaho, did desert a
I
child
know.
under the age of 18.
I would if I was sinking on the
TR,
Titanic
with a date
and I
of birth
was
of
Jack and Rose.
9/24/2002,
I'd have the whole damn
who
door.
was dependent on the
Right.
defendant for care,
I know, I'm joking
education,
too
or
much.
support with the intent to
Eh.
abandon TR. Ms. Daybell, do you understand what's been charged in count 2 as well as the maximum penalties?
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Ms. Daybell, count 3 is a misdemeanor under Idaho law. It's the charge of resisting and or obstructing an
You better
officer,
back
a
up.
violation of Idaho Code 18-705. It's punishable
Breaker,
by up
breaker.
to 1 year in the county jail and up to a $1,000 fine. It
Well,
alleges
thank
that
God
the
she wasn't going
defendant,
into possession.
Lori Noreen Vallow, aka
None.
Lori Noreen Daybell, on or about the
She needed
26th
some
day
knee
of
pads.
November
If you know,
2019 in the
you
county of
know.
Madison, state of Idaho,
She is rolling
did
her eyes.
willfully delay and or obstruct a public officer to
Maybe
wit
she didn't get her
Lieutenant
new ones
Ron
in yet.
Ball
I don't
of the
know.
Rexburg Police Department
I've never been
in the
translated.
discharge
Or the
of
Lord's
his
favorite.
office by giving false information regarding the whereabouts of a child,
Yeah, she's.
JV,
I can
date of
tell
birth
she's like
5/25/2012,
hypercritical. She's like, why is he doing that? I
and
wonder what he's
thereby
doing.
delaying the search
Worrying
for
about everybody
JV.
else.
Ms.
you know?
Daybell, do you understand the charge in count 3 as well as the maximum
Mm.
penalties?
Y'all.
Count 4 is also a misdemeanor.
I've
It's a
gotten
charge
many
of
laughs off of this.
solicitation. It carries with it up to 6 months in the county jail and a a $500 fine. It's a violation of Idaho Code 18-2001. It alleges that the defendant, Lori Noreen Vallow, aka Lori Noreen Daybell, on or
Oh.
about the 26th day of November 2019 in the county of Madison, state of Idaho,
Girl, you traffic.
with the
You
purpose
gone.
of promoting or facilitating the commission of a crime, encouraged and or requested Melanie Gibb to engage in conduct which would constitute the crime of
Conduct.
resisting and or obstructing an officer. By requesting and or encouraging Melanie Gibb to give false information to law enforcement regarding the whereabouts of a child, JV.
Y'all know I research just people and their connections, especially in the small town, right? Where it's very tight knit Mormon people who go to the same temple, the same church. Not the exact same churches because they're different wards and everything. But I mean, Chad was serving a calling. Rob Wood was a bishop at one time. I mean, I don't expect people to not be themselves, you know, but there is a such thing as conflict of interest. There is a such thing as maybe you should step down. Maybe you probably shouldn't, you know, be a lawyer on this case, or you shouldn't be a court report, you know, whatever the things. Like there shouldn't be all these different things that can come up, you know. Now I know that. I didn't know that then. But I find it interesting, you know, that Lori dismissed this judge right here, Judge Edens, and you know, and just researching into ritualistic cases, period, overall, or these like sex trafficking kind of rings. You know, I'm not saying that is what this is. I mean, it, you know, I can never say that. I can't because I don't know for a fact, not yet, but it's just I just want to say that so maybe some people aren't even aware of these things or have been told not to think anymore by labeling it as a conspiracy theory. Tylee and JJ are not conspiracy theories. The crimes that happened, they were summonsing, they were casting out evil spirits of children the children were the only not inverted people there. Okay? Do you know how wacky and how horrifying that had to have been for them? That's what is going on with ritualistic crimes. They are inciting fear on children who are not able to even defend themselves. And that is so, just that part right there. Without even putting your finger on them or casting out with your little crazy shit. Okay? Thoughts are one thing, but actually finding evidence of duct tape wrapped around them, so around JJ, Tylee being dismembered, and then still her mother is blaming her for it. Okay, what the hell? Something right here. It's very inverted, and the kids knew more than their mom. They knew more than their mom, and they did what kids do, and they clung on to one another for emotional support, for comfort, because this bitch right here took it all away. Piece by piece, drop by drop, she furthered this whole conspiracy, in my opinion, and she's convicted of it in Idaho, of doing what narcissists do, and that's taking away, taking and sucking the life out of people. Okay, they're energy vampires. They're sometimes just murderers. Okay, they kill their kids. Sometimes they're casting, quote unquote, casting out. Okay, I mean, I wasn't there. Or, she tells Colby, "You weren't there, and Mom wasn't there, and Summer wasn't there, and nobody was there, right? Hooker, that leaves you. The knife stands alone, and the knife stands alone." Right? That's why you're convicted. And you'll be convicted again, because that's how my God works. And, I don't wish that on anybody, but she brought this on herself. She is already a convicted killer. She is number 153749, or is it 5? I've already forgotten. She took every right away from her own children, her own flesh and blood, and then left one, like Colby's here to have to go through all this. He lost everybody. He lost everybody. And I'm grateful that he has Kelsey and his children, and his belief, and just knowing, just having a moral compass, and just, it's got to be, again, got to be mourning somebody that is alive, because I've done this with her, and she's my aunt by marriage is what I'm saying. It's like, who is that person right there? Who's that person right there that walked in with the most confidence I've ever seen? I've been to jail, y'all. That is a traumatizing experience all in of itself. Okay. It is not cool. I was there for 13 days because I did not answer, because I was non-confrontational. Be confrontational whenever, there's 3 contempt of courts because you didn't pay a ticket. Okay. You might want to answer that, or you got to pay the price, because I didn't want to deal with it. Out of sight, out of mind, right? That problem didn't go away, as all problems don't go away when we just simply turn our cheek to it and just say it doesn't exist, because it does exist. And this is reality. And so we have to be responsible for what we put out there. Whenever that happened, I got a DWI. I'm being straight honest with you. And I had to go to all those classes. I had to pay for them. It was like a long and very financially draining experience, but it was pretrial diversion, and it was I played. I should have been arrested 90 to 100, however many more times, because of being so careless and not thinking about other people, not saying, "Oh, well, if I drive drunk, then it ain't about you, it's not about me. It's about who you're putting in danger for your reckless behavior. People aren't like you. People aren't like me. People aren't like Lori, or you know what I mean? None of us are the same. So we just have to be responsible. Everybody, everybody, you know, I don't care who you know. I don't care who you know what. I'm just, we just have to be held accountable and responsible for the things that we put out there. And so to this very day, Janice, Summer, and everybody else is just like, it's just that damn Chad Daybell. Okay. And I'm sure, I can only imagine, but this is, I remember Emma saying this actually. She was like, ever since he met Lori, you know, it's like Lori brought the pain. And I get it, you know, those two together. Whoa. I hope they go back to their past lives or whatever and just why'd they divorce him? Or why weren't they still married? You know? Joke. But I'm just saying, like, that's not how this works. And just because somebody tells you something doesn't make it true. No. And but that's, you know, that's the product of this recipe. It's a recipe for disaster. And she said that she would walk with him to the ends of the earth, of the universe. You know, she'd grab him by the storm. And that, or she said, grab me by the storm. I was like, wait, didn't Chad say that? Grab me by the storm. I'm thinking a guy would say storm, right? But no, it was Lori that said, grab me by the storm. And I'm like, ugh. Interesting, right? And also gird up your loins. Okay. That's about as far as I'll go in that area. Ugh. Also, I'm working on, I guess maybe on Joe Schmo's channel, Tuesday. I'm going to share like the different roles. What I did was I took my AI, I had to leave Canva, okay, and use a different AI. And so what I've been doing is laying out, I've been like feeding the data to it of the Hamblin case of 150 some pages of Hamblin's daughters who allege back in 1991 this horrible, egregious, satanic, whatever you want to call it, they're kids. What, they don't know the adult terms, you know? They don't go, oh, let's file this under, you know. I mean, they didn't ask for labels and they're not, what I'm saying is people who are victims of this, they're not there to like differentiate, okay, how you classify their abuse. Okay. They're just like, daddy hurt me, mommy hurt me. Okay. They're like, ouch. And you're like, oh yeah, no, this is that fake satanic stuff that nobody has proven. Hello? Do you see the child? Do you hear what they are telling you? You know, they're children. They're very smart. Stop dumbing them down. Okay. Just to protect your worldview. Okay. It's time to chop down some stalks there and just bring people back down to reality. Okay. Because see what happens to people's noses whenever they're not based in reality. They're looking down because they're so high up on the pedestal. And that's called humbling right there. When you bring them down to reality and say, whoa, wake up. Hey, you know, come to. This is real life. Okay. Nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to get you out of this or that, or because it's all these little things that end up, if people are never, you know, if let's say their parents get their tickets fixed or whatever, and so they never have to pay or never go to court, right? Never have to go to jail for 13 days. And that was horrible. I was like, oh my God, I was traumatized from that. Because that's not somewhere I ever was like, oh yeah, I got this. You know, it was never a life goal of mine to serve any day, you know, anytime. It's your freedom is stripped, just like she did her kids though. And just like I would have done had I killed somebody by being stupid, you know, reckless. So, yeah, I paid all the fines, and I was like probably annoying to other people who would complain about having to be there and having to pay. And I'm like, it sucks, you know, but I put myself here. So I'm in the front. going through the classes as fast as I could and just trying to get the most out of it too. You know, it's a learning experience. I mean, she's a believer in, there's a reason you're here. There's a reason, there's a plan that God has for you. Well, what are you doing? Fast tracking? Are you ignoring him? Because I mean, that's a rhetorical question because I do believe she is. And she's actually, I believe, praying to the wrong Lord. And I mean, she has said that in her audio that Melanie Gibb shared of her testifying, talking about wanting to kill Joe, not having a murderous heart, and that Satan had been after her since she was a little girl. I believe that is the truest and only true statement Lori has ever said throughout this whole time, is that Satan has been after her, because that's what these people teach. Fear, warped, what's bad is good, what's good is bad. If it's pain, it equals love. Whenever JJ's nanny from care.com babysat him while she and Alex went and picked up Melanie Gibb from the airport in Idaho, the nanny, this is so confusing too, because if you think about it, the nanny reported that JJ just had and so did Melanie, that JJ just had like a little cushion in the corner of the room in Lori's room, like a little pallet, I would say. She said a little mattress, but then you think back to the Chandler house, where Uncle Charles was shot dead right there. 2 bullets in the chest, according to Chad Daybell. And he changed the life insurance policy before he got the 2 bullets in his chest. Chad Daybell. Asshole. Anyways, the passive aggressive with these people is strong. Chad didn't take his wife, Tammy, and say, Tammy, girl, you are playing on this game. What can we do? Instead of just being like, your dead grandmother came to me, and it's exploitation, y'all. It's controlling the narrative. And it's not even his grandma. It was her grandma, not just hers, but Samantha's and all of, the siblings of Tammy Daybell. And it was somebody's mom, anyways, it was the girl's mom, but Miss Phyllis, it was her mom. And so he's like, okay, Tammy, your grandma, her spirit came to me and she said, girl, you better stop playing Farmville. Okay. You're getting carried away. You better get your ass in that temple and do my damn genealogy work so I can go red run these people. My concubines, kids. Oh, our kids are fine. And I'm okay. I need to shut up. Going too far with that. But instead of just being direct and upfront and just sharing feelings, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, at least you're being real. And not only are you being real with yourself, but you're being the person. It might hurt. You can hurt me with the truth, but don't come at me with all those lies like this. Do you see what this is now? Where she put herself? It wasn't Chad. It was Lori. Lori is the problem. Sometimes, people said, Ruby, you're the problem. At points in time in my life and mothering my children, I was the problem, they weren't being any certain way. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes we are the asshole, and it should be okay. And also another thing is that mothers, they seem to be under pressure. I've felt under pressure before. I remember sliding down the other side of the door with my son. He was fed. He was, had a clean, warm, clean diaper, warm clothing, everything was fine. But he just wouldn't stop crying. And so, I mean, this happens all the time, too many times. And we live in a world where if a mother were to speak up and just really be like, oh, I can't take the kids anymore, we're going to judge them for, stepping away, taking a break and just saying, I don't know, I'm losing it, or being real and just saying how we really feel, saying what we mean and meaning what we say, and not not being so judged about that. It's so stigmatized, like she lived in an environment where everything had to be perfect. It's all about the image. As long as you're putting off that image and everything looks fine, everything's fine. It's not. It is not. It is not. I promise you, it is not fine. And that's okay. I actually can relate to you more. I can relate to you easier if I see humility, if I see you make jokes at yourself, like, oh, wow, I'm a nerd, or just be human, like not exalted and not stuck up and not living some facade or some kind of role. Be you. It's okay. And it's okay for me too. I have to tell myself this as well. Like, it's okay to just be you, be your natural self, I mean, actually, I have to clean it up a little bit, because I would be like, y'all would be like, oh my God, this girl. But I mean, that's how I've had to cope in my own childhood and growing up, is to make light of things, because I often was put in the middle of things. I was the mediator. I was put into situations where I shouldn't have. Okay. And I didn't know that until going through this case, watching, listening to other people analyze her behaviors, her friends' behaviors. And I mean, so through this process, through learning about Mormonism, I learned about, well, what does that look like for me here in Southwest Louisiana, where I went to catechism all my life, but just never confirmed. What does this look like in a Catholic structure? What does this look like in a Scientologist system, or a Jehovah Witness, or a Baptist, or Russian, like I don't, Orthodox, Eastern Orthodox, just Buddhism. What does this look like from other people's worldviews? It's fascinating, and I'm trying to be more open-minded and more self-aware of other people who don't have the same lived experience as I do, and none of us are going to. But just to be honest, I think is the most, I mean, it's free. It's free, and it costs though when you shortchange yourself, because then it's shortchange. She put Lori right here put on a mask that she projected onto me. I wasn't looking for red flags at that point in time in my life, for sure. When I met her, I was in my early 20s, or late 20s, about 26 ish. Just had my second, my baby girl, and she was real engaging. She was like, it's like nobody else existed except for me and her. Like, she was that, I don't know, what's the word? Charismatic, or she was just interested. And I mean, again, like I said, I've been put into situations that I shouldn't have been put in as a kid. Attention, you're like, okay, don't look at me, like, but that's different, when somebody wants to know about you, or wants to, or finds what you're saying is interesting, and you know what I'm saying? That there's a little something going on there. There's a little like trust, and like, oh, okay, she was my aunt. So I mean, it was an aunt niece role. And I was raised to respect my elders. I have a really badass aunt, Ginger. She's not maternal or paternal. She's actually my stepdad's sister-in-law. And that woman, she is teeny from Mississippi, and I'm scared. I would be scared of her, for real. She is the only one that ever just like listened to me as a kid, as someone who was abused. She got on the phone and she confronted that person. I was like, oh my God, I mean, it was still an awkward situation to be put into. I'm not saying she wasn't drunk. I'm just saying she took up for me. She believed me. She told him off. She confronted him over a phone. I mean, this man drove a bus. I mean, he might still drive a bus. I don't really know. I'm just saying, there's so many people looking up at us, at you. We don't even know, because we're so busy in our own little mental gymnastics of our own. And so it's like, oh wow, okay, I didn't realize that my two bonus sons were looking up at me, and that my daughter depends on, she enjoys that time. I enjoy that time that we talk and share, or just are goofy together. It's okay for them to feel. That's all. For so long, I think my mom for sure comes from a generation, and I would say Charles too. I would probably say Lori here. It appears that there were not genuine feelings allowed to talk about. Like, you don't do that. That was a big thing, and I don't like that. I was my mom was like, one day she was like, this is after Uncle Charles's murder, so this is within this time frame. And I couldn't hold it in, and hadn't seen her because they were married to their business, straight up, her and Larry. Phones and vans. My parents were gone, I mean, but it was just kind of life. It was life, your parents are working. So, you know what I'm saying? There's so many things, but there's always something lacking. You're shortchanging somewhere where you're being super on point and perfect or whatever, you're putting on this front. That's getting all the attention. That's getting watered. But over here, your grass in your backyard is dead, and you're like, oh crap, I got to make time for that. And, there's only so much of you that you can attribute to all these different things. And, and sometimes we sell ourselves short, and then we melt down, it's too much on us. And then we take it out, for it's our own fault for doing this, or for not knowing that we're doing this. And then we lash out on to our children or our spouses, and what I mean, like everything in your orbit, like, and it's nobody's fault but your own. And sometimes, a lot of times, people offer to help. I don't know how to do that. Like, I don't know how to accept that. So it's like retraining my mind to be open to these different things that they're foreign, but here we are. I just want people, like, just know that if you ever feel like you are about to lose your shit, first, if you need to, if it's an emergency, I don't know the numbers. I think it's 988, 911, just, get help that way. But if it's just to vent, I'm your vault, for real. And we should be able to be honest. We should be able to be like, feel like I'm going to hurt my kids, and so you should have a support system, and people who aren't like, well, we're just going to send you, to, you know what I'm saying? Like, just pawn you off onto something else and somebody else's problem. Sometimes you just have to take off the white gloves. Okay. And you got to get dirty. You got to get in there and just have to get through the shit. I'm telling you, if that would have happened just a couple of times in this woman's life right here, we might see the beautiful person that I used to see. She's a zombie. It's actually it's heartbreaking. My uncle loved her. Tylee loved her. Colby, JJ, my mom, Larry. I mean, she was loved. But she didn't love herself. And nothing is going to ever fill that void, because she doesn't think she has a void. She thinks that, her shit doesn't stink, if a translated being were to poo. And so we're just really in an upside down position here, and it's not favorable. It's not good for anybody. So believe whatever you want. Believe whatever you want. But let's get people believing in themselves. For real. And I need to go watch this when I get off of here and tell myself this. Okay? Future self. Believe in yourself, okay? And that you are loved. Anyways, and that you are worth being loved. Worthy of love. Okay.
Date of birth 5/25/2012. Miss Daybell, do you understand the charge of count 4 as well as the maximum penalty? The last count is count 5. It's a misdemeanor under Idaho law. It's a charge of contempt,
I know, me too.
violation of Idaho Code 18-1801, subsection 4. It's punishable by up to 6 months in the county jail and up to a $1,000 fine. It alleges that the
I think she's
defendant,
about to bail out.
Lori Vallow, aka Lori Daybell, on or about the 30th day of January 2020, in the county of Madison, state of Idaho, did willfully disobey a lawful court order in Madison County, case number CV
That too.
3320.
You're right.
45, by failing to physically
thank you.
produce minor children JV
Sending love to you.
and
Thank you.
TR to the Rexburg Police
right.
Department and or Idaho Department of Health and Welfare within 5 days of service
We'd
of the
become
order.
really close with
Ms.
IDHD.
Daybell, do you
Right.
understand what's been alleged in count 5 as well as the maximum penalty?
I understand.
Ms. Daybell, do you understand that all of those charges and their maximum penalties could run
she rolled her
consecutively,
eyes.
one after the other, or they could run concurrently, meaning at the same time? Do you understand that?
Yes.
I just need to look down at you. You're so small, Judge.
In addition
Recuse
to the
yourself.
rights form that you've already filled out pursuant to
No, I
Idaho
wish.
Criminal Rule 5, I'm also going to give you the following
should call her.
rights. Number 1, you are not required to make a statement, and that any statement made by you today can be used against you in court. Number 2, you're entitled to know the nature of the charges that
filling
have been
her
brought
out right
against
there.
you, which we've already gone through. Number 3, you are entitled to bail. You have a right to bail. Number 4, you have the right to be represented by counsel.
Thank you.
Number 5, you have a right to a preliminary hearing. That preliminary hearing must be
I
set
will
within
never
14
credit her
days if you're
right there
incarcerated.
for making
It can
me
be set within 21 days if you're not
snap into
incarcerated.
reality.
That preliminary hearing is a probable cause hearing where the state will have the burden of showing probable cause that the 2 felonies have been committed in order for you to be bound over to the
Projection.
district court. You also have the right to communicate with
Good for
counsel and
thee, but
immediate
not for
family.
me. Or
And
good
that-
for me
that
and not for
reasonable
thee.
means will be provided for you to do so. Do you understand those legal rights, Ms. Daybell? All right, Ms. Daybell, now
Look at
we'll
that.
schedule the preliminary hearing.
innocent.
I've met with counsel
Flirty
in the
spice.
chambers prior to coming out here, and there's a few dates that I believe did work. Mr. Wood, on behalf
Yes.
of the state,
Libertarians.
you designated that the state needs approximately 2 weeks to be ready. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you also designated that this state needed 2 days.
Where's his
for the
hair?
preliminary hearing to take place. Is that
Whoa.
correct?
Yes.
Yeah. They
Does
went
the
to
defense
like
wanna
ZZ
comment
Top
as far
style
as,
after that.
How much time
That was
they
cool.
need to be ready, as well as how much time the preliminary hearing will take?
Absolutely.
Your Honor, I think 2 weeks is more than sufficient, and I agree with the
I
proposed
remember
2 days setting.
thinking Tuesday or
Right,
Wednesday.
The court has available March
from the Adams
18th
family,
and
you know,
19th.
Wednesday for that lady right there.
Does that work for counsel for the defense?
We'll make it work, Your Honor.
Your Honor, the state may have an issue getting one of our witnesses over here from Hawaii on the 18th. We had asked previously that it be set for the 19th and 20th and would continue that request.
Good.
Mr. Wood, if we made some arrangements so that
Spice.
if your witness could only be here by the
Yes, ma'am.
19th, that we allowed
ma'am.
that witness to
You get the
to
award tonight.
testify on the 19th, would that appease your concern?
Yes, Your Honor.
Does the defense have any objection to that, to moving things around a little bit so that that witness can testify on the 19th?
Oh my
and not
God,
on
that's
the
good.
18th?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we'll schedule then
Oh,
the
Lord.
preliminary hearing for March 18th and 19th here at the Madison County Courthouse. We'll schedule that right at 9 a.m.
Wednesday, Adams. Somebody's going to bitch in the comments because I'm
The court
talking over the
notes that there was
thing.
a
I'm just like, I'm
motion for a
sorry.
bond reduction
Can't help it.
that was filed by the defense in this matter
I like to be
approximately 2
present in the
days
moment.
ago. Has the prosecution received
And
a
this was
copy of
old.
that motion to reduce bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Wood, is the prosecution objecting to
You
that
just
being
did
heard here today?
Pretty eyes.
No, you're not. No, we're not, Your Honor.
We'll hear the
Rob has
motion to
always been
reduce
so
bond then
nervous
today.
and wound up too, I
Ms.
think.
Elcox, are
Yeah.
you going to be arguing that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed with your argument. I want you to know that I have reviewed your motion. I've also reviewed Title 19, Chapter 29, and Idaho Criminal Rule 46.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, we are asking that the court today set bail in the amount of $10,000.
Watch Lori.
Consistent
Watch her face.
with what Lori's attorney in Hawaii requested.
You ever see
In
Puss
the
in Boots
event that the court is
on
not
Shrek?
inclined to set bond in the amount of
You'll start
$10,000,
seeing that.
we are asking that the court consider setting a bond no higher than $50,000 in this
Mhm.
case. Lori is presumed innocent as she stands before the court today. The fact that she
She's
is
sitting.
presumed innocent is not a loose guideline. It's a foundational principle of the American criminal justice system. Under both the Eighth Amendment to the United
like,
States
"That's me."
Constitution and Article 1, Section 6 of
Thank
the
you
Idaho
for becoming
Constitution,
a new YouTube
excessive bail is
a new
prohibited.
YouTube member. I'm
Judge,
sorry, I was
you are
trying
the
to read it.
gatekeeper in this
Thank
case.
you.
You're the guardian
Welcome
of the
aboard.
presumption of innocence
Welcome
and the
on. Welcome
constitutional
to the
rights
shit
afforded
show.
to Lori. This is
I'm
not
not
a court
going.
of public opinion. This is a court of law.
Look, she
Now,
looks
were
like
you
she's being
going to let your
persecuted.
citizens' rights be dictated by what appears in the media? Bail must be set in an amount that assures Lori's appearance in court
You are too,
and
in
is
my view.
commensurate with the charges
You
that
are
she is
too.
actually facing today in court.
Uh-oh.
A $5 million bond
What?
is unreasonable, it's
Again?
astronomically excessive, and is the functional equivalent of holding Lori without bond. This is a violation of Lori's constitutional rights.
He's probably not doing am I. He's probably doing I
I
am.
can tell the court that in my almost decade of practicing law
Joking.
as both a prosecutor and a defense attorney,
It has
I
been
have
hard
never
here.
seen the crime of desertion charged. This is because abandonment
Oh,
issues are generally dealt with under
yeah.
the Child Protection Act,
We
not the
need some
criminal
popcorn.
code.
Annie Reed
But
needs some popcorn,
even
y'all.
under
Look at her. She was
the
just
desertion
agreeing.
criminal
Sorry.
statute, which
Like,
Lori has
yes.
been
Let me
charged
rewind
with
that
and
because I want to
faces
see what
these
she agreed
charges here
to.
today.
What
The
did she agree
abandonment
about
issues are
herself?
generally dealt with under the Child Protection Act, not the criminal code. But even under the desertion criminal statute, which Lori has been charged with and faces these charges here today, the maximum fine, as Your Honor said today in court, that can be ordered is $500.
What's your favorite popcorn?
Yet her her bail is set at $5
Three.
million, 10,000 times the maximum fine in this case. In a recent
She is
Madison
not
County
feeling very
murder
stable right
case,
there.
the bond
She's
was
like,
set at
oh,
$1 million. In the
anxiety.
5 counts the court read today, charged in the criminal case,
There she goes
there
blinking
is
a lot.
not one allegation of a crime of violence. A
Hold
bond
her,
set this
Mormon.
high denies Lori due process
Decaffeinated
and
coffee.
fundamentally deprives her of
Her
her
Red Bull.
ability to meaningfully participate in the defense of these allegations she faces. It is clear that the government just needed to
Yes,
find a
please.
charge that would fit in this
She looks
case
like
because of
an
all of the
abused
media
dog.
attention surrounding this matter. The last thing that should happen is to allow this case to be tried in the media and to allow public opinion
Oh,
and
hold
rampant
her damn
speculation
hair.
to dictate
Okay.
how this case proceeds through.
Because Hookerella right here is straight up going to be on Dateline with Keith. Okay, telling him the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth. I swear, Keith. I swear. It's because I'm telling you, so it's the truth. Okay, and you just have to believe everything without using critical thinking at all. You can't even watch anything else. Don't read the case. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so again, these are people who believe that dark is light, light is dark, kids are zombies, and again, who's ready to be triggered? Yeah, okay. We're just on a merry-go-round tonight.
Hated mom in America, Lori Vallow Daybell, also known as Mommy Doomsday, the exclusive jailhouse interview.
You've heard my stuff, Keith. What I tell you will be the truth.
An all-new Dateline next Friday. You're the most hated
Eerie.
mom in America.
No smoke.
Lori Vallow Daybell, also known as Mommy Doomsday, the exclusive jailhouse interview.
Why do they call you Mommy Doomsday?
What I tell you will be the truth.
An all-new Dateline next Friday.
Oh my God. What are your responses? Please leave them in the comments down below. We have to talk about this. Love it. It's so eerie, y'all. Her eyes are dilated so big. Her pupils. Oh, I bet he wishes it was still COVID guidelines. Also, I wonder what her attorney thinks. You know how Summer talks out of her mouth too? Maybe I just never noticed it, or maybe it's like extra controlled. I don't know what makes one do that. She had a little nostril for what it's worth. That right there. I mean, I picture these kids, y'all, straight up. You know that video of Julie Rowe going, "I am alpha," whatever, and hissing and like, "Rawr," you know? And I mean, can you imagine? These are your good Mormons, right? I don't think so. And this these kids and these victims' realities. This is our Frankie, E. Frankie. This is people being in denial and being told that nothing's wrong. Nothing to see here. Keep on doing that. See what happens. Anyways, all right. So I'm gonna play this video. We're not gonna finish that one, of course, because it's old. I'll share the link in the chat. But I am gonna upload this tonight, just in case I don't. I'm gonna play it here on our way out. So it's 11 minutes. It's long, you know. It's not a clip, but I'm gonna play it so at least it'll be here in case I decide not to upload it. So anyways, it's not done. I gotta add a couple scenes to it, but then for the Hamblin part, but just anyways, let me know what you think. But justice for Tylee, justice for Charles, JJ, Tammy, and Joe, and Brandon, and for all the victims who are unacknowledged or not found yet, or you know, all the victims out there. It's time to heal. It's time to stop listening to people with the labels and all the things, and just trust in your internal, trust the outside things. There's reasons people didn't get pummeled, or eaten by lions when they were living in the woods with them. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I don't have a good analogy, obviously, but I mean, we survived thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So it's just like, I think you're okay. We've had babies. We've done the things. Trust in yourself. They don't want you to do that, because then you're empowered. They want victims. And by they, I mean the secret society, the wider network of these people, this ideology that, they find favorable, obviously. Listen to your heart. Oh, I forgot the lyrics. I was about to break out into song, but then yeah, you saw it here. You saw my face. There's no denying that. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you to the new channel members and returning channel members. Everybody that gave super chats, and that contributed your comments and did the poll. And we're gonna find out if we can stream from Discord. And then if so, we will put that on the media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, or X, and the community wall onto YouTube. See, I'm not used to all this. I am not a proselytizer, okay? I'm just like a what? I wore a bra for this. I'm joking. Oh my god, I hope you get a sense of humor, okay? Because I'm a dork. But all right. Love always wins. You're proof of this. And here we go. Be nice. Look, my name is Crusha K. Easton, and my aunt, Lori Vallow Daybell, is known worldwide for the horrific crimes that earned her the nicknames Cult Mom, Mommy Doomsday, and Doomsday Cult Mom. Her case involves several deaths in 2019, as well as an attempted homicide, one of the last criminal acts perpetrated by her and her husband as part of their alleged mission to rid the world of zombies and maintain the purity of their covenanted bloodline through a secretive organization. The details of the case are mortifying. While some may speculate about a connection to temple ceilings within the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the crimes of Lori and Chad stand on their own. The victims in that damn Google Photos. Right? Hold on. Hold, please. Well, it gives you a chance to read this because I didn't play this very long. Oh, well, shit. Back at you. Okay, let's try this again. Let's go.
Criminal acts perpetrable
Ah.
sealings within the Church of Jesus
Ah,
Christ
let me
of
back
Latter
up.
as part of their alleged mission to
Oh,
rid the world
great.
of zombies and maintain the purity of their covenanted bloodline through a secretive organization. The details of the case are mortifying. While some may speculate about a connection to temple sealings within the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the crimes of Lori and Chad stand on their own. The victims include her estranged husband, Charles Vallow, my uncle, who was shot and killed by her brother, Alex Cox, who claimed self-defense. Then there were her two youngest children, Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow. Their remains were discovered buried on Chad Daybell's property months after they were reported missing. Chad Daybell's wife, Tammy Daybell, also died under suspicious circumstances, a death that allowed Lori and Chad to quickly marry and collect insurance money. The circumstances surrounding these deaths and the bizarre beliefs that fueled them are almost too much to comprehend. This isn't just a story about murder. It's a story about manipulation, religious extremism, and the devastating consequences of misinformation and unchecked beliefs. It's a story that has deeply impacted my family, and one that I feel compelled to share, not for sensationalism, but to shed light on the truth and perhaps offer a measure of understanding in the face of a senseless tragedy. The trial brought forth a disturbing picture of Lori's descent into increasingly bizarre beliefs, influenced by figures like Chad Daybell, who promoted apocalyptic prophecies and the idea of zombies inhabiting people's bodies. The prosecution argued that Lori's desire for money, power, and a new life with Chad motivated her actions. The defense painted a picture of a woman struggling with mental illness, manipulated by a charismatic figure who, it turns out, Lori was unwilling to place blame on, although he did not reciprocate. Ultimately, the jury found Lori Vallow Daybell guilty on all counts. While the legal proceedings have concluded, the emotional scars remain for the families of the victims, and the questions about how such a tragedy could have occurred continue to haunt those who followed the case. The verdict was in, but for me, the story didn't end there. My connection to this tragedy is deeply personal. My name is Kresha K. Easton. My late uncle, Charles Vallow, was one of Lori's victims. That makes me JJ's aunt and Tylee's step-cousin. My mom is JJ's grandmother, and my stepfather, Larry Woodcock, is his grandfather. My brother, Todd Trahan, is JJ's biological father. The loss of Charles, JJ, and Tylee has left an unfillable void in our family. While the trial offered some answers, it also raised so many more questions. How could this happen? How could someone, especially someone I knew, be capable of such horrific acts? My initial quest for understanding began with a now 6-year-long deep dive into the beliefs of Lori and Chad, comparing them to the doctrines of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the faith that they both professed. I needed to understand what constituted a cult leader and what set them apart from others. I needed to know where the line was crossed, where interpretation became extremism, and where faith devolved into something dangerous, something that could justify murder. My research wasn't limited to Lori and Chad. I started noticing a disturbing trend. I found countless individuals, their stories often splashed across Mormon true crime headlines, who echoed the same rhetoric, the same justifications, the same distorted view of reality as Lori and Chad. They spoke of zombies, of light and dark, of a coming apocalypse. They too often left a trail of broken families, shattered lives, numerous victims in their wake. I began meticulously researching these individuals, tracing their connections, their influences, the sources of their beliefs. What I uncovered was alarming. These seemingly disparate cases were often linked, connected by a thread of shared ideology, often rooted in fringe interpretations of religious texts and prophecies. The more I dug, the deeper I fell into a rabbit hole of conspiracy theories, secret societies, and apocalyptic prophecies. It was a complex web, woven with threads of misinformation and fueled by fear and paranoia. It felt like I was peering into something much larger than just the case of my aunt. It felt like I was looking at something that resonated with ancient biblical prophecies, a global conspiracy playing out on today's world stage. The implications were staggering and frankly terrifying. I knew I couldn't stop here. I had to keep digging, keep connecting the dots, not just for my family, but for anyone who might be vulnerable to these dangerous ideologies. Lori and Chad's beliefs were a twisted amalgamation of apocalyptic prophecies, distorted interpretations of scripture, and a belief in their own divine mission to rid the world of zombies. They spoke of light and darkness, claiming the ability to discern who was infected and who was pure. This dangerous worldview justified their actions, allowing them to rationalize the deaths of their loved ones as necessary steps in their warped crusade. This echoes the rhetoric used by other individuals involved in similar cases, like Jodi Hildebrandt and Ruby Franke. Their child abuse, cloaked in religious justification, demonstrates the devastating consequences of extremist beliefs. The manipulation they employed, the control they exerted, and the systematic abuse they inflicted mirror the tactics often associated with cults. The generational aspect of trauma, particularly in cases of satanic ritual abuse, is a deeply disturbing element. The disruption of a child's attachment to their mother, a fundamental bond crucial for healthy development, can have lifelong consequences. When this bond is intentionally severed, as alleged in SRA cases, the child's emotional and psychological well-being is severely compromised. They are left without the foundational tools needed to navigate social interactions, develop healthy relationships, and regulate their emotions. This vulnerability can make them susceptible to further manipulation and abuse. Think in terms of Ruby Franke's sister, Bonnie Holine, who proudly exploited the fact of blanket training her baby. This is only one example where these beliefs and practices have been made public and afford the opportunity to point out that there is definitely an alarming trend happening here. I suspect Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt's families are involved in this particular satanic sect and has been passed down from generation to generation by their descendants. A core tenet of this conspiracy is the infiltration of Christianity, where Satan manipulates individuals through their own desires for importance, success, power, and wealth. This manipulation thrives in our current climate, where God's influence in our lives and homes is steadily diminishing, and increasingly perverse lifestyles are normalized. Consider the fervent devotion people show toward their idols and political figures. Witnessing someone react violently to factual information about their chosen idol is a telling example of this manipulation. It's a gradual, insidious process, a drop-by-drop conspiracy that twists truth and inverts reality, deceiving people into accepting falsehoods as fact. This is inversion. The allegations against Dr. David Lee Hamblin paint a horrifying picture of SRA. The accounts from his daughters detail psychological and physical torture, human sacrifice, murder, and even cannibalism. These claims, while shocking, are consistent with reports from other SRA survivors who describe similar experiences of ritualistic abuse, often involving multiple perpetrators. The alleged involvement of a group calling themselves the LDS Church of Satan, or the group operating within the larger framework of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, raises serious concerns. The claim that members hold dual membership, maintaining their standing in the church while participating in these alleged rituals, suggests a level of infiltration and manipulation that is deeply troubling. The Glenn Pace memo, which surfaced years ago, addressed allegations of SRA within the church, specifically in the 4 counties along the Wasatch Front in southern Utah, which is where Chad and Tammy Daybell grew up and raised their children before moving to Rexburg, Idaho. This document, though its authenticity has been debated, detailed claims of ritual abuse, raising questions about the church's awareness of these activities. The memo's existence, coupled with the numerous accounts from survivors, underscores the need for further investigation and understanding of this complex issue. My suspicion that Chad and Lori were involved in this alleged satanic sect stems from several factors. Chad's long tenure as a cemetery sexton, his fascination with death and the afterlife, and the couple's bizarre beliefs about zombies and their mission to eliminate them all align with some of the reported characteristics of this group. It leads me to believe that my family members were targeted, exploited, trafficked, and ultimately killed by this group operating in the shadows of the Mormon Church. I believe their involvement explains the senseless tragedy that has befallen my family. I am driven to uncover the truth, to expose these alleged crimes, and to seek justice for my loved ones.